Your attention, please. That includes all the turds. My lords, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Manny Sinder channel. Every Wednesday from 8 p.m. we present to you the Masters of Logic show. Every Friday from 8 p.m. we present to you the Friday Mayhem show. Warning. If you are easily offended or you do not like hard truths with colorful language, then please get lost. If, however, you have tuned in to expand your mind and your conscience, then please sit back, fasten your seatbelt and enjoy the show. Thank you. Music, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, welcome, welcome. Saturday the 15th of December. How are we all doing? Let me see who's in the chat. Just 1 second. Bear with me, bear with me, bear with me. So, let's take this away. I'm really sorry about yesterday. I'm not going to come up with any random stories. I am just going to tell you the truth. I was out. I was invited by the world-renowned Steve Speaker's Corner to join him in a good old jolly festive knees up. So I met Steve and the man we know as Witness Speaker's Corner. So we all three of us, there was other people invited as well, but all three of us, we got together and we enjoyed the main and the last main working day this year. Yes, I know many people will go to work on Monday, but let's face it, it was the last full week. And oh my God, was London busy. To cut a long story short, I basically stayed out with my two friends and we talked about all types of things, mainly politics. And before I know it, it was about midnight and then that was that. So, yeah, that's why I had to cancel yesterday's show because let's face it, these type of winter festivities don't always come round, or should I say Christmas. Rather than blabbling on, let's see who's in. Romy Tobinson, hello mate. Dave Smith, Ethos, Aurora Dawn, David Hudson, Rayon. Who else we got down? Henrietta Hedgehog. We've got Maximilian Sandu. Big up, big up. Going down, Liban, I get the distinct impression you are not very fond of me, but nonetheless, I have no issue with you. A gentleman called Salam, JK in the house, Archie boy, hello. Random exposure exposed. His comment is yes, and underneath random exposure is Saracen. Everyone download my vid before Saracen sends me a copyright strike. Wow, is that for real? I mean, I haven't verified that. I'm just reading out a comment. I think I said hello to JK W Bird. Chucky, hello. You're a new face on here, I think. Corby, hello, Corby. There used to be a Punjabi rapper, hardcore. I think she moved to Bollywood after a bit. Anyway, I'll tell you a story about that one day. But that name obviously reminds me of hardcore. So anyway, hello, Corby. Go Speakers Corner. Hello, buddy. Hape. Hello. Manny Sinder Live. Saracen is random exposure. Check my vid. Give me a second, mate. I might even go over there and have a look if that's what you want to highlight to me. Big Bad John Love All. Big Bad John. And then he says love. It's such a gangsterish name, isn't it? And then he says something as pleasant as love to all. Betty. Hey, Manny. Thanks for chatting to me. Of course, Betty. I'm a nice guy, despite what I made out to be. Oh no, where was I? Where did I go? Where did I go? Okay, so $1,500. Why $1,500? Liban, what? I really should use Firefox more than Google Chrome because it's panty poo poo. Who this? Okay. Rayon, we said hello to. Yeah, we said hello. Right. Shell Rawcliffe, hello. Saracen is the main guy behind Random Exposure, and Jaffer and Saeed helping him. I'm not surprised, but I'm not personally involved with these guys, so I don't take these things as personal. But anyway, Cyrus is doing good work exposing Saeed, don't you think? Corby said. Interesting comment. Salam. What we got here? Claire Emir. Feel sorry for Saeed a wee bit. Yes, I kind of do. I think I was listening to Raj's stream, and he said that her children has been threatened. I mean, anybody with a heart and conscience do not threaten children and families. So this tells us that there's something. How can we say it? A bit evil at work here? I'm not sure. Is that the right word, guys? You tell me. Amazing speech. You have to always kind of sit up and listen when Romy Tobinson posts a link. I don't like hardcore Corby saying she's rubbish. Yeah, she's an idiot. I went. Where's that comment? I actually went to one of the matches, the cricket matches in Chandigarh, and had really good seats, director's box, and saw her and the rest of it, and she's a clown. But I am obviously much older than most of you guys, and I actually saw her perform when I was at universities in the early 2000s, and she was a complete clown then. She went away and she came back reinvented, and she sang that "Ik Glassy Do Glassy" track. You know what I mean. David Hudson, hello. Jimmy Jason, bro Saracen has been exposed. Now Jaffer and Saeed. I don't know who Jaffer is. Is he the chap that converses with See Alive? All these guys are helping Saracen on Random Exposure. Really? Well, Angela Manahan, hello. How are you? I need to verify that. I don't know. Archie Boy. Blah blah. Hello. It's a nice way of saying hello. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. He wrote. So Betty is in London, Kensington. You party animal. Kensington is a lovely place to go out for some trinky poos, but the problem is Kensington and that part of London it can be very cold. I'm going to be honest. I lived in that part of London for a number of years. It can be very cold, though it's very nice and very leafy, and the properties around you are wonderfully expensive, and you feel relatively safe. For some reason, it's not very easy to make friends there. And that's just not me saying that. That's generally the consensus because everybody is super busy and into their lives. But we'll leave that story for another day. If you actually, one of my favorite places to go out on a Friday was the Mitre in Holland Park. Holland Park, by the way, is my favorite place in London. If you haven't been to Holland Park, you haven't seen decent housing. There you go. Where we go? So many people on. How many people are on here already? Let's have a look. 90 views. Okay. Well, this Jake. Okay, I've got to stop going through the witness. Whoa, hello, witness speakers corner. Thanks for the info on the British Constitution. You are more than welcome. Like I said yesterday, be really interesting to get some kind of interview and show with the pro constitution stroke common law specialist on here. So any questions you and I have, then can be certainly aired, and everybody can know. As long as people learn, that's the most important thing. Going down the list, Saracen is. Oh wow, you guys have got it in for Saracen today, haven't you? I'm currently watching a video on 1689 UK Bill of Rights. Interesting, interesting. That website that I sent over to you, Witness, is a really good website. But it's just a conversation to be had. We obviously touched on it briefly last night, but we'll get there. We'll get there. One show at a time. One show at a time. Tivatap is in the house. I think I said hello to Claire Emir. Ham, spam, and pork chops. Scottish Harry. Are you from Scotland, though, young man? Or is that just a very nice name? Never 79. Don't trust Raj. I ordered 2 cards from him and they never arrived. We'll use Moonpig next time. 2 cards from him? What, like birthday cards or something? Mo Bill is in the house. Oh, Mo Bill, that reminds me. James got in touch with me and said for his own research he recorded our conversation because he obviously sits on the fence on absolutely 90% of things, and he wanted to publish it because he said it was a very balanced and fair debate. What do you say? I've said to him that he could do it. He has my permission, but obviously he's a nice guy, and he wants you to give the say so. So you can either write something in here or you can message him. I think you go onto his server, don't you? Rainbow Dunia, hello. Where have you been? I haven't seen you for a few days. Vincent Young, why are Welsh people for Brexit? Because Welsh people love their individuality and sovereignty and they don't want to be trampled by dictators. Could that be answer to that question? Doesn't have serious mental issues. Maybe he doesn't. Mobile. Yes, he told me Manny Sinder live. Okay, so are you yes or no? You can say I'll tell him. I mean, I'm friends with James and business partners with him, so he's very level-headed. Even if whatever you decide is fine. I've said to him that he could from my side, but obviously he wanted to get okay from you. You may even want to re-listen to it. I don't know. His random exposure. LOL. Okay. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. You guys are saying that. Hello, Jason. Betty. So what are you doing tonight? Are you going out in Kensington or what? What's going on? Have no problems with it either way. Thank you, Mobile. I shall let him know. I mean, he's not really happy with me at the moment. But hopefully he'll come round. Wealthy blessed one. Why did Saracen attack Jedi though? No idea. I know you're not asking me, but right, guys. Okay, right. I've got a few subjects to tackle, but before I do so, I am going to send the link to Raj. Then he can come on whenever he's ready. I listened to his show today. It was very entertaining. I mean, he's a very entertaining guy, isn't he? So, Raj, if you're listening, which you normally are at the beginning, but you like to come on a bit, half an hour later or something, I've sent it via Hangouts. Right, guys. So this show, I want to tackle a few things. So I'll cover them briefly, and then when Raj comes on, we'll tackle them a bit more. Yeah. So Brexit. How many of the peeps in this chat are pro-Brexit? I.e., do you want control? Zaria77, hello, mate. From Southall. Okay, brilliant. Well, you've put Southall, India. LOL. I suppose it is a bit like India, isn't it? I like I like one of the reasons why I love London and I love living in London, that it's very mixed and very balanced, and you can go live in any type of community you want. Whereas Southall, there's not really a balance, is there? But anyway, so guys, Brexit. Who's for Brexit? Who's with me? Loves this country and want this country to be perfect. If you want this country to control its own borders, to control its own money, to control its own destiny, and when I say its own destiny, I mean, i.e., we the people. So if you're from Britain and you want to be a part of this country and not be a servant, Morton High in the house, Cool in the house, Bless Westwood in the house, Vincent Young, I think I said hello already. So if you believe in democracy and you don't believe in a dictatorship, which is what the EU effing is, you pro-EU effing peep, how the hell can you support the EU? Are you thick? Are you a couple of sandwiches short of a picnic? What do you not understand what the EU is? Have you even read a piece of legislation? Do you know the senior members of the EU? The senior members of the EU are not even voted for. It's not democratic, you Mary Ellens. What do you not understand about that? Raj, how you doing, buddy? So the EU, as Raj's music is playing. Yeah, it is, man. A bunch of globalist wankers telling you what to do. And while we were marching in the cold on Sunday, majority of British pom-poms were sitting at home having a cup of cocoa. You don't think we haven't got anything better to do? Raj has now got the flu because of that war. So he's been away. We didn't vote to go into the EU. We didn't give our permission to go into the EU. Any member of parliament that signed us up to the EU have committed treason. Treason. That is the most high criminal offence on this land. In the British land,
yeah, I agree.
There is no higher punishment, there is no higher crime than committing treason. Every single member of parliament, including Theresa May, Tony Blair, and every other prick in between, and those people that made up the government, they've committed treason. Treason. Okay,
I agree with you, Manny.
It's a fucking crime.
Yeah.
Raj, come on.
We need to do
about Brexit.
Me and you need to do a military coup. Sorry, you're gonna have to be deputy prime minister. I know you might have to vie for a position, but I must be the leader. I will take your advice, and then we will get the Brexit we need. All joking aside, though, this is a very sad state of affairs in terms of democracy. Whether you agree with leave or stay, the fact is a vote was passed, a referendum was taken, and the public decided to leave. And so if democracy works, then we should be leaving. At the moment, we're not. And it is a disaster. And yes, it will go down in history. Raj got the flu because of that march. Thank you, Manny, for pointing that out. I forgot.
No problem. Welcome back. Good to see you back on your feet. But I just want to point out, in 2017, the GDP for the UK was $2.62 trillion. Okay, that makes us the 6th most perfect country to live in economy-wise in the world. Okay, we don't need the EU. The EU is Germany. The Germany is number 5. We are number 6. And when they tell you a load of garbage like, oh, you're not going to get your medicine and you may not be able to get your paracetamol, no problem, because I can go to India. Not only will I get it cheaper, I'll get it done faster and they'll deliver it tomorrow before Amazon. So we don't need rubbish like that, because it's just globalist wankers raping this country for every single penny it has. We don't need to pay them any penalty. The EU are nothing. We voted out. We didn't vote that. Why don't we have a divorce? I mean, why? How do they call it a divorce? It's not a husband and wife falling out. We've just told them, we voted to say, fuck off. We don't want anything to do with you. We are standing on our own 2 feet. We don't need a divorce. We pull out and tell them to go rape another country. We are, economy-wise, the 6th best economy in the world. We are a superpower. And thankfully, India is one place behind us. Obviously, India is a bigger country. And China is number 2, and obviously America is number 1. And that's just the way it is. We don't need these people. What else have they said? Oh, we might get attacked. Attacked by whom? These politicians of ours are the ones that are sending rockets and armies to these foreign lands. We don't need to kill women and children in different countries. We can say that just tomorrow. 1 million women and children were killed in the first year of the Iraq war. Why do we need to kill women and children for? We don't. Money saved. Apologize to them. Fair enough, those soldiers that went there and were fighting genuine terrorists, even the good Muslims will join us and say that's a job well done. We don't want terrorists in this world. And the great master himself, the president of the United States, Donald Trump, has said, don't worry about the EU. We shall be your main trade partner. So what else do we need? It's the number one.
I just need to say I don't agree with Manny on the Trump thing. I don't like Trump, so just to clarify, because I don't want people to think we have exactly the same ideology.
Listen, anybody that stands up for their country, for their family, and for their people can't be a bad person. Whether you like the way he delivers his message, whether you like what he says and what he does is really a secondary thing. He's brought the American economy back. The globalists are on the back foot. Do you know how many pedophiles in America alone have been arrested? They've uncovered remote camps where children were locked in cages in America. That wasn't done under Obama. That wasn't done under Bush. That wasn't done under Clinton. That was done under Donald Trump. So look at so he's really bad for the economy, but look at the stock market. Okay, the stock market in America and world is doing so well that the corrupt private corporation that prints money out of thin air and then loans it to the American government, i.e. the Federal Reserve, have now threatened Donald Trump, saying we're going to raise the interest rate. And we all know they've printed so much money. When they do raise interest rates, what's going to happen? The economy is going to crash. So they are blackmailing Donald Trump, just like the Bank of England and the Treasury are blackmailing Brexit and said we're going to bring the economy down. There is we are the 6th best, richest, powerful country in the world. We don't need anyone. So when our own politicians and the most senior person in the Bank of England threatens us and saying Brexit is bad, what is that? That is political war against the people. Why do you not like Donald Trump, Mr. Singh?
I've got my reasons. Obviously, maybe because I've got preconceived ideas of what I think a president or a prime minister should be. And maybe I'm being a bit of a snob. I don't know. I just don't think he's somebody that's cut out for that such a high status role that's going to affect worldwide politics, and I just don't think he's a right individual to be a president. Is he a good? He might be a good businessman. He might be a patriot, but is he a good? Is he a good president? I think he's got his moral characters off as well, obviously. So yeah, I mean, I don't hate. I'm not like other people that hate him. If someone says they support Trump, I don't automatically think you're a racist or you're mad. I'd say, yeah, he's not my cup of tea. I'm not to the standard of like some of these crazy lunatics that as soon as you say Trump, they start frothing at the mouth. I just don't like him for various reasons like that. Nothing major.
Okay, well, thankfully he's uncovered what I've been saying for years. Obamacare, as in Barack Obama's most famous contribution to the downfall of American society was his ridiculously enacted NHS version of insurance, and it's unconstitutional, it's unlawful. So he should be imprisoned, and he's done that. So well done. Now people can have real healthcare, and they don't have to die because they can't afford medical insurance. And on top of that, say what you want about Trump, at least he didn't rape women like Clinton did. Okay, every single American that votes for Hillary Clinton, right? You tell me, if everybody was a woman, could you stay married to Clinton? Could you stay married? The man who used to beat his rape victims and then rape them. How could you stay married to that?
I'm not saying that I think Bill Clinton or Hillary Clinton are saints either. I think they're corrupted individuals too.
He's a rapist, and he was on the plane and island of the famous paedophile. What the hell was he doing there? What's it called? They call it the sex island or rape island. What's all that about? What was Clinton, former president of the United States, doing in the rape island?
Probably raping.
There you go. But people are happy to vote for his wife, aren't they?
I think his wife's a nasty individual. So they also, when they went to Haiti, I think they I can't remember what they did. They kind of swindled a lot of the kind of funds for their own causes and stuff. I'm not a supporter of them either.
Good. So
yeah,
so Raj, so you love your country. You love like me. You love Britain. Are you a racist?
I'm not sure at the moment because I'm ill.
Well, I'm just sick and tired of anybody that loves their country, whether it's Britain or whether it's Germany or whether it's America. I mean, how are they continuously labelled racist?
Yeah, I know. I mean, we went to the march on what was it? It was like ages ago, but yeah, on Sunday. I do think one of the things I was a little bit disappointed in was the turnout from ethnic minorities within that march, because the reason being is that if you don't turn up, because you feel like people might think you're with a particular group of people that you think are racist or this or that, then what happens is the whole crowd is just a bunch of white people. And Brexit is not about being white, not about being black, not about being Asian, just about doing the right thing. And I'm kind of getting sick and tired of a lot of Asians or people from minorities not putting their kind of, not voicing themselves because they're so fearful of what people are going to think.
I agree, and I am getting a bit annoyed because for various reasons, it could be what they're being told in media, or they're just being lazy. They don't realise that this is everybody's country, and this includes everybody, not just one religion, not just one race, not just anybody. This affects we all should be there. If you love this country, if you want this country to be successful, you need to join me and Raj and all other, Witness Speakers Corner was there, Moses was there, both African, from Nigeria, and there are very few ethnic people there, but we need everybody to come out, because if you don't believe me and Raj that the people that attend there are not racist. Do your own research, because you will be hard found. It'd be difficult for you to find any more or less racism than you do anywhere else in this country. I can't say that every single human being that attends these marches is a saint. That's not true. But just look at the footage that me and Raj take. Go look at our videos on our channels. You can see for yourself that majority of the people are very nice people, and they just care about the country. And when you care about your country, you care about the people that live within it. So you need to come out. I mean, it doesn't take a long. Raj, it's a good day out. Do you agree with me that when you go to these marches, it's actually quite a good day out?
Yeah, I had a good. I mean, I had a better. I'm not gonna lie, I had a better time at the lefty side, because talking to those guys is like, going to a zoo or something, because they're absolutely crazy. But yeah, I mean, I think that the thing is, it's not necessary. I do understand that people from a ethnic minority background are fearful, because the images that the media show are quite. It is very skewed, so it makes it look like there's only like loads of white people. Some of them look pretty thuggish. And but that's just a perception. You need to go down there and start talking to these people, and they're not. I'm not going to say there's no racists there, because obviously there are going to be racists. But are there to the extent that people are trying to portray? No way, man. There might be just like a few percent, maybe 5% max. The rest are just, some of them are nationalists. There are people, are just people that are worried about the UK. And more people need to start coming from different backgrounds to kind of break down a narrative that this is just say minorities or immigrants versus the indigenous population situation, especially with Brexit,
And that's
because
the
this is
only
what they're going to
way
use.
we're going to wipe out the racists that are lurking in the group. If we all of different colors, different races attend, if we're not. You're not going to be able to wipe out the racists from the group by sitting at home playing PlayStation and watching Manchester City beat Everton. That's not going to happen. You need to attend. You need to participate. You need to get involved. You need to become knowledgeable, and then you'll realize that what we're really fighting for.
So this is what Liban said. Liban, he said, try and get some token minorities in there so they can be perceived as less racist. That's basically what Raj is trying to say here, guys. Liban, stop being a victim all your life. How do you live like this? We are a victim 24/7, thinking that people are being used and you're being used as a minority. It must be a despicable life to live like this. Can you not just think that something as important as Brexit, people should come together just to support the fact that a vote was passed? And if you believe in democracy, then you should support it, because that's what people voted for. And this ain't about being a token this or a token that. If that's how you live your life, and you think every time you're around white people, you're the token person in that group, that's cool for you, man. But you're going to have a miserable life going forwards if that's the way your mindset is.
I agree. My version of Britain is what I stand for. My version of Britain may not be the version of Britain that every other person that attends these marches. So my version of Britain includes the different immigrants, whether they're Muslim, they're Hindu, they're Indian, they're Punjabi, they're Sikhs, they're Jewish, they're Christians, they're Africans, whatever they are. So my version of Britain is what I stand for. And obviously that includes 80 to 90% of English white British people, because essentially this is a white British Christian country. So I stand for all those principles. I'm sure there are some people that attend these marches that just attend for very biased reasons, but that's not me. I attend these marches for my version of Britain, and my version of Britain is inclusive. It includes everybody.
Yeah, can I just say something? Mobile did make a good thing. I used to really hate Mobile, I'm not going to lie. But we've spoken a while ago, and he's not as a crazy lunatic as I thought. He says, Rod, do you understand a lot of minorities don't want to be associated with Tommy Robinson? I do understand that. I do get it, and I do understand. And this is where the crux of the problem kind of is going to be hard to overcome, just because there are people with so much dislike for that individual that no matter what he says now, everything is bigoted and racist from him, even though there isn't a lot of substance to that. Yeah, and so I do get it. I even empathize with that. I would love, I would love to be there if there was a more inclusive movement that people from all backgrounds could kind of put themselves under and still say we're British. You can be a British Muslim, you can be a British Sikh, a British Hindu, British this, and without the label, oh, you're a coon and all that kind of stuff. Because I think this is one of the biggest problems facing the UK. This kind of like disunity. Like you can't live under in one country and half the population, or around 20% of the population, don't even feel like they're part of the country, or they have quite a big disdain for it or hatred.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with everything you said there, and just to confirm, I've conversed with Mobile on James's Discord server, and we had a really nice, productive chat about grooming, and I really want. I mean, now that James said he recorded it for research purposes, but he was so impressed by the chat that he's sought permission from both of us to publish it, and we've both given that now. And in there, and one of the reasons why it was such a productive chat, Raj, is because I did something that a lot of the so-called right side of politics don't always do. That I acknowledge that there is a genuine concern for the good Muslim community, who are naturally standing against grooming and who are very pro Britain and love living here and so on and so forth. And I also believe that. Tommy Robinson and perhaps you and I as well, and many of Tommy Robinson prominent speakers need to do more to bridge the gap. What I'm trying to say is that if all the good people of Britain stand together, i.e. for the right side of politics, then we're going to be able to reach our goal, i.e. freedom, success, happiness, and seeing our country become a beacon of freedom again, reach that destination quicker and easier. So what's your suggestion? How can we do that easier? Because I am aware that perhaps even the likes of you and I are perceived by the good Muslim community as being against them. And I know from being friends with you and obviously knowing where we are, that that's not the case with us at all. I mean, we have to work hard outlining the grooming issue, and we have to work hard, the hard-lined, the disrespectful of that community to be highlighted. So my question to you is, what do we need to do to make sure everybody is invited and they're free, that they can join us in these events? Because I'm consciously trying to make that difference myself.
First of all, I think it should be quite easy criteria. We shouldn't. I don't really care. I don't think it's for people in political, for like a political movement or anything, to have requirements about someone's religious beliefs. The main thing is that if I ask you a question, are you British, and your answer is yes, and there's not a kind of caveat in there or anything like that, or a thingy, then yeah, it's cool. First of all, you've got to, like, I'm British Punjabi Sikh. Yeah, I don't have no issue identifying with all three, and I don't think anybody from any other community should have that issue. And if you can identify as that, then that's the first bridging building block we can use. Because if you meet some of these people, like some of these guys that you meet at these rallies and stuff, if you don't believe you're British, or you don't associate with Britain, or you hate the UK, you have nothing in common with them. Yeah, nothing, zero. So the building bridge, or the building block that you need to have first, is that. Everything else can be worked upon afterwards, but the first step is that. And this is one of the biggest problems I've seen. So I mean, any Muslims that say they're British, then they're the people that we need to start working with. And the problem is, obviously, they're going to have the hardest time, just because of the fact that if they say this, they're going to be ostracized hard for saying that. I mean, even as a Sikh, sometimes you get it as well, but it's not that bad. But imagine, being in the Muslim community and like, I know that I don't want to say the guy's name, but he was in the British Army for like 8, 9 years, and he can't tell people he used to be in the army. Like I've told him not to say anything because as a Pakistani Muslim, telling people you was in you was in the British Army and going to Speaker's Corner is going to cause you a lot of issues, and that's problematic because if someone wants to fight for the UK or be in the UK Army and we live here, we pay our taxes, then who am I to judge you on that? That's your decision. So that's the basic. I mean, it's much more complicated, but that's the basic.
So I'm going to generalize here, right? What type of person lives in a country but has hatred for it? Is somebody with a mild or extreme terrorist type of mindset, right? How can you live in a country but hate its people? It doesn't work. It's not logical. If you live in a country, you want to live there, you must enjoy living there, and you must want to make it a better place. If you're living there, hate living there, and you hate the people, you may not be a terrorist, but you certainly have hatred in your heart. It doesn't make sense. You have to be you have to be patriotic. You have to be a nationalist to some degree. Otherwise, you have mild or extreme terrorist style thought processes because you're going around with hatred. Do you not agree with that, Raj?
Probably not to the degree that you're saying, but I do believe if you're I mean, look, first of all, I'm going to condemn the colonial past of the
Absolutely,
UK.
absolutely.
I'm going to condemn the crimes that the UK have committed around the world for.
But the British establishment do not represent the British people.
Yeah, I
never
know.
cross those barriers. I never say the British establishment and the crimes they have committed against Asians, against Africans, and any other type of people are representative to the British people. It's like holding someone like Steve Speaker's Corner accountable for the British India Company. That's ludicrous.
Yeah, and all civilizations have done atrocious things to other people. It's not just the UK. The Indians have done it to Indians. Africans have done it to Africans. Africans to other races. Indians to
India
other
has
races.
never invaded another country.
Who?
India has never invaded another country.
Yeah, but there was no such concept as India until the British come. So that's why they've never invaded nowhere. But there's been invasions into and parts of India for thousands of years. They've been invading each other.
It was still regarded as the same region. I'm saying that India at no point invaded a neighboring country or any other country because that's not what the ethics of the Indian people are like.
Oh, look what content said. He said, you sound like Pat, Raj. Pat O'Donnell. I spoke to Pat on Sunday after going to speaker doing the thingy. We had quite a good chat, actually. Pat O'Donnell, Gerard McNamara, Crimes of Britain.
Yeah. I'm just going to be away for a couple of minutes. Why don't you tell everybody about that conversation you had with him?
I didn't want to talk to them. I was talking to you.
I just need to be away for 2 minutes, mate. If you could hold the fort.
I'll go on. I'll wait till you come back. Let me read some of the comments and see what's going on here. All right. So he's gone now, hasn't he? Yeah. All right. Yeah, Rainbow Dunya. Good comment. Difference is the UK recognizes its colonial past while Muslims don't atone for their invasions. Yes, exactly. Well done, Rainbow Dunya. Wagwan. He's put a little dirty face on there. I'll say this. Big odds. I'm not going to be at Speaker's Corner tomorrow. I've got a card, man. I'm well. I think you're gonna get enough attention as it is tomorrow anyway. But I don't know what you want to talk about. You can carry on the series, but don't talk about anything too. Actually, do you know what? If you want to talk about the Islamic period, talk about that. Huh? If you want to talk about it, I'm just not going to watch it because I'm going to start frothing at the mouth and smashing the TV. So if you want to, that's your chance. When I'm not there, yeah, talk about that. I spoke with Saad last week, And I think we should have him as a regular because he brings a good aura to the situation. So if I'm well enough for the week after, then we'll carry on that conversation that was disrupted. So I'll leave it up to you what you want to talk about, but don't talk about anything that's going to be pre-Islam though. You can talk about Islamic period while you're there. What I was gonna. Oh yeah. I'll talk to you anyway, but don't be so hard on. I don't want to say it here though. I'll text you. Don't be so hard on you know who, man. And I hope you stopped. You stopped your drinking sharab and stuff like that, man. You looked a bit better today on the thingy, man. Don't do that bullshit. There's a reason why alcohol is prohibited. There's a reason. It's not for no goddamn reason why God says you shouldn't be drinking. It's not our bloody logic. It's just common sense. Oh, Wendy, poor Wendy. Are you going to be there tomorrow, Wendy? You know, I was going to go tomorrow, but I'm just so unwell still, man. There's no way I can do it. I was thinking about going just to kind of meet up with Betty and watch some fireworks. I was going to watch some fireworks tomorrow. But obviously I can't take the risk. I'm just too unwell, man. I was going to say something else actually. What else was I going to say just now? Oh yeah, the Saracen thing being random exposure. I've had Saracen's Facebook page for a long time, just because I used to communicate with him. That's definitely his Facebook page, but I can't find the post anymore. So has he deleted the post? And if he has, how can we find out if he deleted a post to link him with random exposure? Because if that's the case, man, that's a bit of a weird one because that random exposure account is very erratic. Very erratic. It doesn't seem like it's from one person. I think it might be multiple people. No, his Facebook is still there. I went on there earlier. I've got his well maybe he's deleted it now, but I checked like an hour ago. And but the thing is he's all over the place on that random exposure. And where is it? Anybody, let me just say something here, including to Bigger Odds and any other people there, yeah. I want to say something. You may not agree with Saida. You may not even like the lady. You may think she's wrong. You may think she's this. But if you look at Random Exposure's last video, he was calling out her kids. Yeah, he was calling out her kids. And I'm sorry, any man, yeah, that stands by and says that's okay, then there's something wrong with you, man. There's something wrong with you. You need to start looking within yourself. When people are starting to call out people's children and stuff and say you better look after your innocent children, to me, yeah, that's a valid threat. That's a valid threat. So watch the video back that you see. You may not like the woman. You may think she's you may think she's a liar. You may think she's evil or whatever. But her children have got nothing to do with this, yeah. And so these people that are putting this kind of stuff up, you need to start people that are kind of saying random exposure, big up random exposure. Yeah, he does some funny video. That person does some funny videos. I'm not gonna lie, but the one that they put up today, and when you look at the end of it, the person clearly calls out Saida's children. And let me ask anybody.
With all due respect, Raj, I think you're the only one that finds those videos funny.
No, I'm going to tell you something. I'm not saying they're funny. There's one video, yeah, that is funny, or maybe two. The one video is there's Gang and Raspek and them lot dancing to Madonna's Like a Virgin. That is funny. Yeah, that's all it is. There's nothing malicious in it. There's nothing bad in it. Just that one video. And so I've got to give props to that video. And there's one video about me that I found quite funny as well. But this is what the message said in the video earlier today that they posted. It said, we advise Jelenka is Saida, to instead of a failed attempt to bring down the Dawa at the park and flirting with men at 6 a.m. in the morning, sometimes resulting with her 2 children missing school and cursing the honorable mothers of Muslims, she should worry about her 2 innocent children. She should worry about her 2 innocent children. To me, that sounds like a valid threat. So anybody that's condoning that, To me, you're not a man. Yeah, you're a coward. And any true men out there, yeah, you should be condemning this freaking channel and calling that guy out or that person out from now on.
Powerful words, Raj. I think Jedi said it best in a
Mm.
recent video of his when he said that these people, these Muslims, are conducting a process called reverse dawah,
Yeah.
where
This is truth,
they,
man.
I mean, I'll let you do the naming of who they are, but they
Yeah.
are. I remember when I first came on the scene, I said something. No one's remembered this, and why should they?
Mm,
Um, I
mm,
said that the biggest enemy of Islam is not people like Raj and Tommy Robinson. It's
mm.
it's certain Muslims themselves, right? Because it's
Yeah.
these certain Muslims that are committing crimes against humanity, that are driving people, good people, no matter who they are, what race or religion, that are driving people against this particular religion and the people that follow it. And I think this whole situation has shown repeatedly, not just one video or two video, it has shown us repeatedly that there are a select group of Muslim chaps who are committing crimes against humanity, and as a consequence, when the likes of Tommy Robinson's, Raj, Speaker's Corner, Steve Speaker's Corner, and many others stand up against this evil, then they are branded as racist, as bigots, and all these horrible false names, when in truth, we are just trying to help and protect the innocent, no matter who they are.
Well, the thing is, I said a while ago that now let me put the caveat. Most of the Muslims that go to the park here are just going there. Some of them are a bit rowdy, some of them are a bit this, but most there are just there to kind of have a listen, have a bit of a good time. But there's
Yeah,
this small core.
sorry,
There's a
before you carry on,
Yeah,
people don't even realize that half the people that Raj communicates with, and now as a consequence, me as well, half of them behind the cameras, right, that they don't want to go on the camera, that shake his hand, are Muslims.
yeah.
Half
I'm
of
cool
that
with that.
go to
I'm
Raj
cool with
and
most of them.
converse with him are Muslims, and they
Yeah.
say, "Hello, how are you?" And Raj, reciprocates in the same calm and pleasant manner. So it's only a small group of people that are destroying it for the good Muslims, are destroying it for the Hindus, the Sikhs, the Christians, and the atheists, and everybody else.
Yeah, and
Right?
the thing is,
You have
yeah, no,
a lot of Muslim following, right?
yeah, and the thing is, most of the guys that are doing this are the same people that went for Sarah, the same group that went for me, that kind of like went for other people to try and get them out, and they all linked all together. Yeah, and I said this before. I said if it wasn't me they're targeting, if it wasn't Tan they're targeting, if it wasn't Sarah, if it wasn't this person, it wasn't that person, it would be someone else, because for them they always need an enemy. Yeah, it always need an enemy. This is how they run. Yeah, that's their kind of like base operation, that they find someone, they demonize that person, they attack him through social media or her, and then they try to destroy them, and that's how they do it. And they've done it so many times now to so many different people that it's starting to become evident that they don't really care about their religion. They don't care about anything. All they care about is causing confusion and causing problems, and they just love the commotion and the madness that it causes. These guys are anti-Dawa. There's no doubt about that. I actually sometimes think here, like the conspiracies are right, that these people are sent in to actually destroy the Muslims' reputation around the UK through this anti-Dawa or something like that. I don't know what their logic is behind it.
I think, like I've always said, I'm very big with psychology. So I don't. This is one of the reasons why I don't dislike any religion, or I don't speak up against a religion, because I believe that a piece of paper with scripture on it can be translated by the person reading it in accordance to their experience. For example, if somebody is evil, if somebody wants to cause hatred, they're going to read that same text and go away and probably think that they could be murderers or they could be, any other evil entity they want to be. Where a good-hearted person, a loving person, will read the same text and say, do you know what? Everything's fine. There's rainbows and butterflies. We'll all will be okay. So it comes down to the mental health of that person. And I know with a lot of the Muslims that are my friends and a lot of the Muslims that I speak with, whether it's Speakers Corner or on Discord or anywhere else, they actually agree with me that these type of extremists have mental health issues and they are using their own religious beliefs as a reason and a stamp of authority to go about and commit evil against other human beings.
Yeah, I mean, I'm disappointed in the sense that, I'm not going to name names, but people are allowing this girl. I mean, obviously, I've had my problems with Saida for a while, yeah, and I don't like her mannerisms. I don't even really like her as a person, if I'm being honest with you. She's somebody that grates me at the wrong way, but the way she's been treated for trying to expose a particular individual, we won't say the person's name, expose that person's bad behavior in the Dawa, and she has been put onto another level of savagery, like, the way they're attacking their own Muslim sister. I always say this thing, oh, don't attack Muslim women, don't do this. But the people that are attacking the Muslim women the most is their own Muslim men.
Hence why I'm saying that these people are not conducting any of their actions in accordance to their religious belief, and they are conducting in accordance to their hatred and their evil within them. You see, you get my point?
Yeah. I mean, one of the rumors that has gone round, and I'm going to repeat it again because I just find it so unbelievably. I'm not going to lie, I actually love this rumor. It's one of my favorite rumors, yeah. And it's not even a rumor because it's something that, our old friend, the guy, what his name is. I call him a Triple X Dawa now. Triple X Dawa.
I think I know who you mean. Yeah.
The guy that said you're a transgender. Yeah, so with him, he, like, if you're gonna, one thing, like, sometimes men, they boast about sexual conquest and stuff like that to make themselves look better in front of other men, and they exaggerate a bit or they lie. I mean, this guy went on to a next level of savagery. So have you heard the story that this Triple X Dawa told people? Have you heard the story?
No, I don't think so.
So the story is this, that he was at the park at Speaker's Corner doing his filming, and this other guy, the guy we call Dick Pic, what I'm talking about. Them two bumped into two Pakistanis. Yeah, one was a mother, one was the mum, and one was a daughter, and they were doing dawah on them. Dawah, trying to preach, and their form of dawah was to take them to a flat or somewhere and roger them. Mother and daughter.
Why would you want to tell me that?
But this is not what I'm saying. This is what Triple X Dawa told people, and they got a recording of it.
I mean, that can't be true, can it?
Whether it's true or not, if a man says that from his own mouth and admits
Who said that? Who said that?
Well, the guy. I don't want to say his name. The guy that made the
code name for them. What's the code name?
I called him Triple X Dawa.
Okay, so he said that. What, he actually told you that?
He told Respect and other people, and he had a recording, and he confirmed it on Sia live stream yesterday. This is why I've only said it now, that he did say it, and he was only boasting. He didn't really mean it. It was a lie. So he's confirmed he said it.
Which is the truth? That what he's saying now, or what he said originally? Is See Alive in the chat? See Alive, did this? Can you confirm this took place on your live chat? See Alive?
I can send you the thingy. It was on last night, so I listened to it. So this ain't even up for dispute. This is something that he's said it 100%. It's just the thing that's up for dispute now is whether he was lying about it to impress people, or whether he's lying now to try and cover his sins. And so this is the type of person we're dealing with, man, like some complete savage. Like, if he's lied about this, that's savagery as well, because why would you lie about doing dawah to 2 Muslim women at a park and then taking them round someone's flat to do X, Y, Z. That's a nasty lie to make up. But if it's true, that's just as bad as well. Either way, it's a lose-lose situation for that dude.
Yeah, I mean, this is awful. I mean, the thing is, I didn't even know that these type of, obviously you see things on the news and different countries, but you see my Muslim friend, like my closest Muslim friend, he created a corporation in the space of 3 years. You know, that's my closest Muslim friend. So the Muslims that I know are very successful, very hardworking, and like shit hot. So when you hear these stories, what you're discussing with me now is like, how and where, how does this come about?
Yeah, come on, don't be bad. I can I just say, just for thingies, Triple X Darwa's defense, look at his hair. That takes a lot of time. Your mate might have created a multinational company. He's got hair of a model.
Romy Tomlinson, I've got that link, mate. I have it ready. So when we find a good section in this chat, I will play that video for you, mate. So don't worry, I do have it.
Well, the thing is,
Well, I mean, when I hear these stories, Raj, I'm going to be honest, it depresses me. Like, you know, attacking people's family and
yeah,
I
hate
it
stuff
kind of
like that.
depresses me. These are the things that really sets me back. I mean, don't get me wrong, it gets me wrong. But just to tell you the level of anger that I can generate for things like this. I lived for two properties before, right? I lived in I had this brand new property, and the builders pissed me off to such an extent, right? I actually put in a marketing budget to discredit them.
That's I want
Right.
that.
So I create a marketing budget for one of your businesses. I actually created a marketing budget, not to discredit them as per se, to ridicule them, to make sure that no other person bought another property from them again. So I treated it like a business. So
This is
for
why
me,
I like you.
so for me, if somebody pisses me off, it's not just about me personally, because I don't care about that. But if they're going to start hurting innocent people, I'm going to start treating it as a business. I'm going to have marketing budgets. I'm going to have PR people on there. I'm going to have a strategy and a business plan, whether it's a 2-year, 1-year, 5-year business plan. And when I hear these stories, it kind of triggers me like, should I be treating this situation like that? Why are people being so effing evil, especially to each other? I mean, you and I wouldn't be evil with each other. We're from the same community. I wouldn't even be that evil to my worst enemy. So why are these people doing it to their own people? I don't understand. What's all that
But
about?
this is more about the reputation of the Dawa community and this individual at the park.
What does
You
dawah
know,
mean? It means to bring somebody to the Muslim religion.
yeah, pretty much, yeah. So they have these individuals that they put on pedestals. So this is not just a Muslim problem. This is a Sikh problem, a Hindu problem, Christian problem. When you put these religious people onto these pedestals, um, and then they're exposed for having some kind of sexual deviancy or something like that, there's going to be a group of people that will want to protect them no matter what. Yeah. Uh, yeah. So they're going to jump. They're going to try and protect that person no matter what, because they've got a vested interest in that person. I don't want to say too much, but something like that is going on right now, Manny, in the Sikh community right now. Did you know that?
No, you want to enlighten
Yeah.
me.
I don't really want to talk about it because it's an ongoing situation that I don't know enough about to talk. But let's just say a very well-known Sikh preacher is being protected by people, and there's a lot of people protesting against him as well. So yeah, it's a complicated situation. I need to just double check a few things. I don't want to say anything that's going to incriminate me or something like that. But it happens. It happens in the Sikh community as well. Definitely. But The difference is that they seem to have no problem with these guys that are targeting certain individuals to go for their children. I mean, just listen to the threat. You should look after your innocent children. Yeah, what does that mean to you? I mean, I would take that as a threat. Would you not?
It is a threat. It's not. It's not a case
Yeah,
of
and
will I take it. It's an outright threat. Is that what they sent to her as a letter?
no. This is on YouTube. Go to speaker. You want to watch the video? Go to Speaker's Corner. I mean, Random Exposure.
Mm.
That new channel, and then go to the end of the video of the latest video they put up today, and it reads at the end a message: look after your children. And the thing that's quite sad is that there's people bigging up Random Exposure, big up random. Whenever I see Random Exposure, people are bigging that person up, but that person is targeting someone's kids.
Who's
What
doing
if they
that?
did that? Huh?
Who's doing that? Who's bigging them up?
I don't want to say any names because I've got too much grief as it is. I'm trying to be good, but people are bigging them up and stuff like that. Maybe they haven't seen what they've written and only seen the funny parts. But there's a lot of nastiness. A lot of people are saying it's Saracen. That's
What
what.
do
That's
you
what.
think? You're really clever with these type of things, Raj. Is that true?
It probably could be because Saracen is totally schizophrenic. On top of that, he will do anything to. He's a snake of epic proportions, so I wouldn't put anything past him. There is video evidence of people showing the link between him putting a post up a year ago and then that link going to that channel before it was started. And I can confirm that that particular Facebook page that they recorded was his real Facebook page because I've been friends with him on Facebook for like a year and a half, so it was definitely him. But some of the stuff, it looks like, to me personally, I think it's multiple people. But one thing's for definite, the editing skills, yeah, are very akin, yeah, to Triple X Dawa. You know, Triple X, you know what I'm talking about, Triple X Dawa.
I think yes, I think I do.
Yeah. Triple X, the guy that made the claim against you, he done a video against me. What is it? When I first went Speaker's Corner, and if you listen to the music or the video he done against me and the editing skills, is almost identical to these new videos coming out from Random Exposure. So I'm not saying it's him, but what I'm saying is that they have a close link to each other. There's probably like 3 or 4 people doing videos for that channel, and that's why sometimes it seems inconsistent. I think it's probably 3 or 4 people, not just one person. But I think Saracen probably is involved.
Wow, that's sad, isn't it? That's upsetting.
No, what do you expect? This is the level. The thing is, yeah, I need to. Have you not got any more guests on this show? I didn't realize it was going to be so empty on your panel. Where is everybody?
What do you mean empty on the panel? We've got 200 viewers. What more do you want?
No, I need to go, man. I
You
don't
can
want to
go.
leave you alone.
You can
All
go
right.
because you've got the flu, right? I'm not. No. You can come up. You can. That's fine, mate. If you need to go,
Hold on. Can I just say so? Archie boy, why? Explain to me why, Archie boy.
what did I
Why?
say?
He's just. I hate when people tell me I need to make amends with someone because they're Sikh. What does that mean to me? So somebody Sikh, are automatically going to make amends with the man, even though the man's a complete prick and brings my family into shit. I'm going to make amends with the man. No, I don't. If I want to block people off, I don't care if they're Sikh, Muslim, Hindu, Christian, whatever. Once you cross the line, you've crossed the line with me. That's it. It doesn't make no difference.
And I'm not just saying this because me and Raj are friends. It's very rarely you would come across a member of the Sikh community. Very rarely a member of the Sikh community or the British community or anyone that's respected, regardless of their community, that criticizes someone's mum, sister, family member, and stuff like that. Right. So we, you know, when those things happen, there's a line drawn. You know, we don't do that. And there's certain, when some members of our own community do that, there's no easy way for them to come back onto how can I say, the right side of the fence. And some, without mentioning many names, those, some people have done that. I, for one, I don't do that, not even to my worst enemy.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I never, well, I can't recall. Maybe once I might have, I don't know. But I don't ever recall like saying your mum this or your sister this or your this, that. Like, I'm talking about immediate family. I don't bring that kind of stuff into it. So
Yeah,
I'm not, and
criticize
I'm not that way inclined.
somebody else's mother or somebody else's sister or whoever, you also confirm once and for all that you don't have any respect for your own mother or your own sister, because if you did, you wouldn't criticize somebody else's mother or sister.
Hey, oh yeah, you sent me the picture of Hassan, didn't you?
Yes.
That picture really upset me, man.
Why? You
Because
responded to another message after that.
I felt ill after, but I didn't like that. Didn't like that picture. Sorry, Hassan. If you what it was, yeah, he looked good, but for all the wrong reasons. He's lost his mojo. He's like Austin Powers without the mojo. He just looked like a weird, kind of normal dude. That is not the Mad Turk I know. Yeah, this is somebody else. It's like a clone. It felt like an alien had invaded his body, and that wasn't Hassan anymore. So I mean, if he comes back to Speaker's Corner like that, he might as well stay away. I'm not going to be dealing with that kind of Hassan, man. What is mojo? You know your mojo. You know,
right?
oh my god, yeah. But the thing is, yeah, I know it sounds quite bad. I have my needs, yeah, from certain individuals, yeah. If you suddenly went to Speaker's Corner and you wasn't the snobbish, kind of like what I call kind of hard-nosed Manny, you're useless to me.
Yeah, but do you know what? If you weren't Raj, I'd still appreciate you.
Yeah, I would appreciate you and I'd talk to you,
But
but
you
you'd be
just said that you
useless to
wouldn't.
me. All right, so let me rephrase that. I would appreciate you as a human being, but as somebody that is kind of like an ally, you'd be useless. You'd be out of the beta misfits. Yeah, you could still be somebody I would associate with and say, all right, Manny, but what use are you with for me? Like, it's not, you're not no use afterwards.
That's still,
Your use.
you're just saying the same type of bad thing, but you're dressing it in a different way. That's not. That's
Yeah,
not.
all right.
That's
Yeah.
not a good
Yeah,
frame
but the
of
thing
mind.
is, I even said the same thing to Sophia Lewis. Like, she I said, look, Sophia, don't take this the wrong way, but you're of use to me, man. Like, you give me, that's one of the reasons why I get on with her. Like, you can't just be there just to kind of talk. I mean, there's only so much talk I can do before I get bored. So if you've got another kind of niche, like your niche is definitely you've got a good way of getting under people's skin because of your kind of obviously your views. I'll get them on your personal level and stuff like that, but also you know how to take a lot of shit without letting it get under your skin, which is a talent. And so yeah, but just generally, like Hassan's superpower was being a complete prick. Now look at the state of him. He looked like he,
That goes to show you that majority, not all, but majority of people that attend Speaker's Corner don't have a life, and when they do get a life, they don't come back.
Yeah, but look at the state of him. When you showed me the picture, I didn't even know it was him. I had to go through it. I thought, which one's Hassan? He looked like he just walked out of freaking Primark or something. What is wrong with him? Like, at least dressed like a proper geezer still. I don't mind him kind of neatening himself up, but that is definitely a woman dressing a man, yeah, and then changing him into something he's not. So I don't know how I'm going to get back the old Hassan. I'm gonna have to break up his relationship somehow. I don't know how to do it though, but I know it sounds bad. When I
So
need him though, I'll let him.
maybe that he's happy. He realized that the negativity from Speaker's Corner wasn't doing him any good. And had you worked towards creating more of a how can we say equilibrium for him, i.e., 50% good and 50% negative, then he would be more comfortable coming back.
He's useless now. Have you not? Look here. When he
Raj,
a
I don't
couple of
like
weeks
this
ago, the
side
one.
of you. Raj, I don't.
No, no, but a couple of weeks ago, yeah. Look, what you have to understand, Speaker's Corner, yeah, like you need, like this is not outside the real world. On the outside of the real world,
Raj, 1 minute.
I don't.
Send you the link. Get your backside onto this chat quick, smart. Sorry, Raj, carry on.
Yeah, what I'm saying, outside the speaker's corner, yeah, I don't need that. So it's not relevant to me, like if you're this or you're that. But in speaker's corner, certain people have good traits that are good to kind of I don't know, get through the day. And he's lost that. I was with him for one day when he lost it, and it was absolutely freaking mind-numbingly irritating. So if Hassan's watching, I don't mind you being happy, but don't get yourself castrated at the same time, because that's what it feels like, or it looks like he's being castrated.
Maybe if you were banging some trendy pum pum, that you would be the same, Raj.
Yeah, maybe I would, but the thing is, I hope that people will be around me and say, Raj, you've lost your mojo. Stop being a freaking cuck, and you can have your cake while you eat it. That's the euphemism as well.
Banksy in the house. How are you doing, young man?
Look who's here.
Banksy,
How's it going, guys?
you were pissed as a fart last night. I was in London as well. I messaged you a number of times saying that who I was meeting with and where. You never responded once. I came home early hours of the morning and saw a ridiculously long, tedious, and extremely funny stream from you where you could have just met me up and we could have gone to Trafalgar Square because Steve Speaker's Corner was on form last night.
Oh, as in he was in London.
He
Is that
was,
what?
yeah, he was having a jolly old festive knees up with me.
Oh
Oh,
my
was
god.
he?
Yeah, but dude,
Yeah,
it was
me,
my
Steve, and Witness. We were in Charing Cross, and I mean it was a very busy public house, and but it was very good. But I tried to I messaged both you guys. You guys were invited. Obviously Banksy doesn't give a shit, and Raj
dude.
obviously
I
had to
was at
do.
my company's work, dude. I couldn't just.
That's not more important than hanging around with me, Witness, and Steve. Obviously, we had politics to discuss.
Oh well,
Yeah, I
yeah.
was.
That
I'll be honest
was.
with you. I'll be honest with you. I was going to ask you to reschedule it. I was about to
And
text
did
saying,
you know
why don't
this?
we reschedule it?
Check this out. Did you know Witness? He doesn't like his name projector. So Witness is not only a vegan, but he's a teetotaler. He doesn't even drink alcohol.
Oh well, big up witness, man. I think I heard him say he's a vegan. Yeah. So yeah, hopefully more
But doesn't
people will
that
take to.
surprise you? Normally, vegans are just fluffy, chubby, like Teletubby types, and he's there. I mean, looking mean
What's
green, like
that?
a green.
Well,
Are
this is
they
the whole thing
Teletubby
about
types for
veganism.
vegans?
Have a look at Banksy. Are you vegan?
No, no, I'm definitely not vegan.
You know what? Yeah. Did you see my email about my new computer?
No, dude, I don't know what's going on. First of
Oh
all,
my
Manny, I never
god.
got a single message from you. I just saw the message now, so I don't know if my phone is even sending me Hangout
Oh
messages
my
normally,
god.
because this is
Oh
the
my
first
god.
time. I just opened it Hangout. Now it's saying, "Oh, we're planning on a knees up," um, but my phone should have pinged me these messages. So I don't know what the hell is that going
All
on.
right. So Tom, just
But I've
before,
got
because
no
I'm gonna
email
quickly
from
go.
you, Raj.
I'm gonna come back in a little while, but I need to quickly do some stuff. But I found a computer for £500, ADMI, yeah, 16 gigabyte RAM, a Radeon R7 integrated graphics card, 1 terabyte, what is it? 1 terabyte
Hard drive.
memory, hard drive,
Hard
and
drive.
it's a ADMI gaming PC, 3.3 gigahertz. God knows what that is.
Well,
I
that's
don't know.
fine. I mean,
Windows 10.
what's the processor? The
Uh,
it's basically
all right. So brand name.
just don't
What
get
is ADMI? I've never heard of ADMI.
ADMI. Let me
It's the
think. Let me think.
processor, isn't it?
Sorry.
No, it's the name of the company,
No,
but
no, that's
it's
the name of the company. The processor. What's the processor? ADM
three
is the.
3.8 gigahertz.
No, no, no. What's the manufacturer? Intel or ADM?
Oh, AMD.
AMD. Yeah, that's what I thought that would be, because for those sort of prices, that kind of spec isn't going to be an Intel. Now, I'll be honest with you. Although AMDs have come a long way recently in recent years, they've always had a propensity for overheating. That's been my biggest gripe with AMD for years, and that is my only worry about AMD processors: is do they, have they got the overheating issue under control?
Yeah, but sorry, I said this before in my other live stream. I said I don't want to like take over a country with my computer like you do.
Why do you want to take over? No, I'm not talking about taking over
I'm saying
anything.
I'm saying that the way you computer nerds talk is like my computer needs to be so powerful it's going to overtake
It's
the
not. It's not about
USA.
power. It's not about power. It's simply the fact that when you have your computer on, the processor heats up quite a
Uh,
lot. And when the processor heats up too much, obviously you're gonna have issues of you're gonna get problems with it crashing, with your machine suddenly slowing down. All sorts of other things start to get affected, and also the lifetime of the PC then shortens naturally. Well, the lifetime of the processor
uh,
shortens because of the overheating issue. So this is what I
so,
mean. Heat has a huge factor in an overall
uh,
performance
so
of
what's
your machine.
the better one to go for than a processor, Brandon?
Well, I mean, the best one, obviously, I keep using these expressions. The best one is Intel. The
Oh,
best,
Intel,
I
right?
mean, there's only really two players in the processing game, at least the PC desktop processing game, Intel
Mm,
and AMD. In the handset, the handheld devices, believe it or not, AMD isn't even a player because AMD's process, sorry, not AMD, Intel, because Intel processors are way too hot. So you can't really have it in your phones or tablets. But when it comes to your desktop, right now, really the only game in town at the moment is Intel. Intel are the only ones that are really any good. AMD are the cheaper alternative, but no one. I can't. I mean, I personally can't recommend them. They're two unknowns. I haven't bought an AMD processor in over 15 years now because of the last time I had one, the laptop got so hot. I mean, it literally gets so hot you can't even put it on your lap because
Yeah, but
it starts
this
burning
is
you.
a. I'm hoping that because it's got but it says it's got a Radeon R7 integrated graphics card.
Yeah, that's the graphics card. Now, Radeon isn't as good as Nvidia. It's still
Mm,
pretty decent. It's just not as good as Nvidia. So you've got these are all basically the system that you're describing to me has the
mm,
second. It's got the cheaper half of these things. So everything like the graphics cards, for example, divide into Radeon and Nvidia. Nvidia
mm,
is the one that again serious players take on, or the ones who it's the better quality graphics
mm,
card. Radeon is the cheaper alternative. Processors, AMD are the cheaper alternative to Intel. So I mean,
mm.
it will run, but I wouldn't expect this thing to have a shelf life of a couple of years, maybe three at best. You're looking at changing it in about 3 years. So it all really
Oh,
depends on your financial situation and your what kind of longevity do you want from a PC, from your computer. Longevity wise, this isn't the make and model that will give you longevity. You're looking at 3 to 4 years maximum, and you're looking at changing it. To be honest with you, that's the lifetime of most PCs anyway. But this one, you'll be lucky if it keeps you for 2 3 years. You're in good stead. You're in a good
mm.
position. After
I've,
that, no
I've
guarantees.
got 12 computers, and not a single one of them, apart from one actually, is a AMD processor. They're all Intel. I wouldn't even touch a computer with AMD processor. I would. It's faster getting a flight to the other side of the world, to be honest.
Well, I mean, it's just as I say, it's horses for courses. See, I got someone in text, for example, saying Ginger's saying AMD is good. Banksy talking waffle. Now, there are people out there who swear by
Who?
AMD
Who?
processors. There's a
Who?
guy called Ginger Wendy's husband.
Okay,
Oh,
but
don't. Oh
let me
no,
put it
let's not
let
get
me
into
put it
that.
another way. Let me put it
Don't
another
get
way.
into that.
When I execute trades, my computers and my internet have to be to a certain standard, and the last thing that I would compromise is the processor, because to me and my experience, any computer that's not running on Intel is slow. That's my view.
Uh,
Yeah.
Manny, can
Well,
you block? How can you block Ginger Wendy's husband? Now, look, yeah, Wendy's husband's passed away. Yeah, seriously, man, come on, come on. There is a limit. So seriously, come on. So if you
uh,
can block that guy,
Yeah,
I got a
what's
feeling
the name? Oh,
he's going by the name Ginger. If you go out, Ginger Wendy's husband, and obviously Wendy's husband passed away, so it's not.
yeah. Whoever that person is, you're a complete prick. You don't
I
mess
know, I
around.
know, I know, I know who it is. You know who it is. You know who it is.
Who?
Well, who
It's
do
I
you
think
think?
watching you.
Who do you think?
Whoever it is,
Saida.
don't cross the fucking mark. Don't mess around with people's family because it's not required. We don't like it. We don't appreciate it. So, Raj, well done for pointing that out. We've got rid of him.
Well,
Right.
it was.
I need to go for a little bit. Yeah. So I don't know what your lot's.
Yeah, you go,
Thing is.
Raj, because I'm going to pick a hole in vegans and globalism. So you better go, and then you can listen to this later on.
I listen to it back and start frothing out. You're lucky I'm ill, man, because I need to go anyway. But I'll be back later on.
Right,
So just leave my
right.
space on there.
Just
Yeah.
before you go, someone in the chat insists that you should make peace with watching me, watching you. He's going through a hard time in Wales at the moment. Apparently, I don't know. I mean, this is just text people talking about
All
it.
right. So can I say something? Yeah, I have changed the leave here, and I'm trying to be more kind of diplomatic. But let me just say, fuck off.
Before,
Not to you. Not to you,
before we take that on board, I just
Maxi.
need to say
To
that.
him. To him. To him.
So right, so no,
Yeah.
I appreciate what you're saying, Raj. Raj, so just to let you know that the stream's going to finish at 11 o'clock because I'm going to watch the boxing. Starts
Oh,
at 11
11.
o'clock.
Oh,
If
all
you haven't
right.
got Sky Sports, you can't watch the boxing.
All right. What if it gets a bit juicy? Are you not going to just leave it running?
Don't tease me like that. I'm a very humble guy. If it gets a bit juicy, then we'll look
Yeah.
at how much juice there is.
When we say juicy, if we're talking about a triple X Dawa juicy, which is like a 10 out of 10 mother and daughter orgy that they had, would you leave it up? You heard about that? You heard about that, Banksy?
No, what happened?
Do you know who Triple X Dawa is?
Yeah, I think I've seen him. I've seen the some sort of stream where he was on. What happened?
No, that's the main name we made up. You know Saeed, yeah, Saeed.
Okay, yeah.
OSKK Dawa. He said, I don't know whether he was lying or whether he was bragging, but he told people that him and that dick pic guy, dick pic, you know what I'm talking about. Dick pic. Do I need to say everyone's
Yeah,
name?
yeah. Oh, dick pic, Tawheed.
Yeah. So with him, that they were at Speaker's Corner doing Dawa. Think about it, doing Dawa,
Yeah.
and they met a mother and daughter, Pakistani mother and daughter, and they after trying to do their Dawa, they took them somewhere and they rogered them, both of them.
Wow. They ran a train, huh?
Do you not want to do that kind of Dawa?
So they did Dawa. They picked up a Pakistani mother and daughter
Yeah,
combo, and
yeah.
they ran a
Took them
little
somewhere.
mini orgy on them, a foursome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Well, that's
this
that's
is
that's
this
that's the kind of
this.
Dawa I want to give every fucking
I
week.
know. That's why Banks is going back. It's confirmed. He's gone back. So no, but the thing is, yeah,
That's
this
my kind of Dawa. You see,
before
I
we
knew there was. I knew I had Islam wrong in one way or another. I
yeah,
knew
yeah.
there
So
was something
before
about
we
Islam
go
I
on, yeah,
liked.
this is not a rumor that we have started. This is from the horse's mouth. That's why we call him Triple X Darwa now,
Oh, I
because
see.
he's the one that said it. He's the one that bragged about it to everybody, saying that this is what we've
Wow.
done. And so we can only go by what he said. He was on Sia Live's live stream last night, confirming he said it again. But this time he said that he was joking or he was exaggerating or lying about it to make people think he was more of a kind of like a locker talk, locker room talk sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, oh, he was just bullshitting. It was like Trump's grab them by the pussy kind of a thing. He was just talking shit, but trying
Yeah,
to
but think
braggadocious.
about the lie though, Banksy. Yeah, if you was gonna tell a lie, yeah, you would add some real kind of like I don't know, a little bit of kind of like pizzazz to it. But to do it I mean, this is such a guttural, disgusting situation to happen. I actually think it must have happened because why would you lie about something like that?
Yeah, but why would you? What more pizzazz? What do you want to say? They were picked up by chauffeur-driven limos and taken to the Ritz, where they spent the weekend humping each other's brains out and snorting cocaine off the mother and daughter's hijab. I mean, what the fuck do you want them to
No, I
say?
mean they could have like the mother and daughter thing for one is really really revolting if you think about it. That for one is pretty
Why a
thick.
mother and daughter combo is revolting? How is that revolting? You're not related to them, and they're not lesbianing on each other.
Yeah, but you don't want to. You don't want. I mean, that's just me. I would find that very, very troubling to even think about, like the mother and the daughter going into these kind of sexual relationships with these guys. Yeah, and on top of that, just the fact that they're at speaker's corner doing dawa, and then I'm just gonna sound like I'm being a little bit I don't know. I'm gonna say it, yeah, but I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate. They could have chosen a better nationality than Pakistanis.
Why would you want to say that? Why would that be a
Don't get
right
me
thing
wrong.
to say?
I don't know of any mother and daughter that would want to be naked and having the sex with the same person at the same time. This is porn fantasy lie.
It's
This
not
is like
true.
twin
Obviously, no
sisters kind of
mother
lie.
and daughter would do that, guys. Come on, it's just not true. Look, don't become the very person that you guys are fighting. If that's the sick fantasy that he created, it's obviously not true. What mother and daughter do you know that would do that? Let's not discuss this, Gav.
Yeah,
Exactly.
but
Be quiet.
hold on, but Manny, yeah, look, yeah, have you not seen him and his hairstyle?
He's nothing to
Any
me. This is the
no,
thing. He's
what I'm
nothing
saying
to
that
me. I
what
forgave him at a flick of a switch because he never offended me because he was never big enough to offend me. It's like someone like Farsley Celtic playing a football match against Manchester City and then expecting Manchester City to be offended because they scored a goal. There is no offense. It's like, good, you got a good goal. Wicked, I'm going to score about 10 past you.
Yeah, but the thing is
Yeah.
that I just think the reason I'm bringing it up is obviously I'm still in the gutter a bit. Let me have a bit of fun, man. I'm all for a bit. But I was just trying to relay the news that I heard. I only heard it a couple of days ago.
No, but
Obviously,
look, that's fine.
yeah,
I'm going to let you finish, Raj. Raj, I'm going to let you
yeah,
finish. But what I'm saying is, like, sometimes, right, what happens when people argue and fight certain people, individual and groups, they become that very group or person or individual that they are fighting. So I'm just saying, like, let's not entertain any sick ideology such as what they have projected. I.e., it's not funny if they have or
mm.
they haven't to project to our audience that they did, a threesome, twosome, one some, whatever it was, with mother and daughter. That's not what we want to do. That's not who we are.
All right. So let me show you how we are different, though. Firstly, um, we did not make this rumor up. This is something that this individual said from their own mouths and tried to make himself look like the big man, which I don't believe is true. But he said that, and he involved another individual in this particular story. So the fact is, like, if you went around saying to people, I did X, Y, Z, bragging about it online, bragging about it here, bragging about it there. I don't think you have a right to then say to people, "Oh, why are you talking about it?" Yeah, because you've made the lie up, you've made your story up yourself, whether it's true or not. It's still something that you've propagated to make yourself look better than what you may have thought you were. So obviously,
100%. And that's why these people, whether it's Saeed, whether it's Taweed, whether it's Abu Talha, and all these different people, they can't come back to the park. I'm going to tell you a story, and I'm not going to disrespect anybody on this panel or anybody that I've just mentioned. It's just a story, right?
uh,
I used to hang around with a group of very, how can I say, successful young lads. We were all fresh out of university. We were working for a global corporation. We're getting paid good money. We're doing, a lot of great goods. And, we're in London. We all of us used to hang around every Friday and Saturday. We used to have some great times, go to different top nightclubs, champagnes all around. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Then one day, one of us, not me, one of the lads shat his pants.
oh,
Actually got so intoxicated, actually pooed his pants. From that day onwards, the whole group changed. Why? Whenever that man got into a debate, an argument, or disagreement with any of us, we would
mm,
win the argument by turning around to him, and we were very young and immature, and we would say,
yeah,
Yeah, but you shut your pants, mate.
Yeah.
And that group we dissolved, right? So
Mhm.
when certain people do certain things in their life, they have to disappear. They have to
Mhm.
dissolve, right? And so the names that we are mentioning and sharing have reached that point. So there's no point digressing this, because we are kind of creating this whole situation and bringing to people reality that certain evil is aware, and we don't need to do that necessarily. We can leave it for their own imagination. That's my point. So these people that we're talking about, they can't come back to the park because they'll never win another argument again. It's
Yeah, I
over.
agree with you. I agree with you. There's no. This is why certain individuals over periods of times have left. I mean, even Triple X Darwa is saying that, well, he's got more of a life outside of speed. He's going to basically capitulate and say he's not going to come back for the foreseeable future. But that's not out of choice now. That's because nobody's going to want to touch him with a barge pole. Not Ali Diva, none of those guys, because
We
obviously it's
ourselves need to show,
tarnishing him.
and we ourselves, Raj, need to show humanity to him, that let him regret what he said and what he's done, and let him grow from that, let him become a better person. Otherwise, if we keep getting on top of him and keep ridiculing them, then what's the difference between ourselves and the crimes that we're trying to expose?
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. We need to be bigger people. All right. So before I go downstairs, obviously, Banksy, this particular individual that's saying
Can
that
you
I'm
just go? Because
slandering
I
them.
really want to lay into
Yeah,
vegans
I
and
know, I know, I know. One minute, because there's somebody I know who this person is. Yeah, they're under a different name again, and they're trying to say that I'm slandering this other individual. This individual that people want me to make up with, who was on Banksy's show, started slandering my sister. Yeah, I'm sorry, I've said it before. If you go for my family, I don't care if it's my sister, my mom, my whatever.
there's no coming
You've
back.
gone. There's no coming back for me. There's no way, because he was talking about my sister's flapjacks, yeah, and you know what that
You
means.
can't do
I've
that.
been,
You don't do
I've
that
been,
to top quality Sikh, Punjabi family member. You can't do that. There's no coming back. You have to pay. You have to
There you
pay.
go.
You can't do that shit and get away with it.
yeah. So I don't want all of this stuff because I know who this individual is. He's under a different. He goes by different names, and it always have a similar sounding name. Like I won't say what it is now. So obviously, he knows him and Banksy are good mates. I have no issue with that. That's fine. But don't expect me to just suddenly say, "Oh, cool, that person's having a hard time. Let me be nice to him." No way, man. You're crazy. I'm gonna put my foot in your throat even more. I'm only joking. I'm only joking. I'm trying to tell
Oh,
him you live.
dude,
I'm trying to tell you.
you do you, boo. No,
I'm
it's
gonna tell
true.
him.
I mean, you don't. Not everybody has to be friends all the time, and
Ah,
I honestly don't think that it's necessary that we have to all get along. I don't really
no, we
care if we
don't. We
don't get
don't.
along. We just have to tolerate the other
Yeah.
person's opinions. That's all we have to do. That's all everybody in the society has to expect others to do, is we just simply have to tolerate your opinion,
Oh,
but you also have to tolerate my opinion, no matter how shitty it may
yeah.
be. Then that's how we get along. That's how we live along each other.
Yeah,
Like
but you don't talk about with people's family, Banksy.
yeah, but what I mean is there are no rules when it comes to insults. You don't have to like the
Of course
person.
there's rules. There's moral rules. You don't
No,
talk
no,
about
but
with people's family.
there are no prescribed list of insults.
Yeah, there's morals. The
No,
moral gives
yeah, but
you
what I
can
mean is,
talk
Manny,
about
if
with
that
people's
person
family,
is no, but if that person insults you in a way that you dislike in a very serious way, then that's fine. You don't have to like the insult. That's the whole point of an insult. But that doesn't mean that there is going to be a reconcilable scenario between you and that person. I might think this other person is a total dick and I will have nothing to do with them ever. That doesn't mean there is a list of insults that I prescribe to him of what he can and cannot call me. That's my point. The point is he can insult me in whichever way he wishes. That doesn't mean that if then later on somewhere down the line he wants
can
to develop a
can you
different
can you see
relationship with me.
can you see how you kicked into gear when you felt that Sophia needed defending when it came to Respect and it came to Wendy? Can you see how he kicked into a whole new gear that nobody understood? Well, now think of that when it comes to
No,
top
I
20 Punjabi Sikh
yeah.
family members around the
No, no.
world. We kick into a 5-star gear when it comes to defending members and defending the family network. That's how we are. That's how we are
I
programmed.
know.
Just one more thing. I'm going to let you speak. And this is the thing. Like Sikhs or those of us that are from Sikh families, we know a turban is just a turban, but a turban is representative of you protect what you need to protect and what's personal to you. This is what people don't understand about religion. It's a metaphor. So a turban is metaphoric of what you will do, what you need to do to protect what you need to protect. And when it comes to Sikhs and it becomes to good people, including British people, and I know you're British as well, Banksy, is like when it comes to family, we don't do that stuff. It's a line. Now, me, I'm going to tell you a secret now. With me, if I ever went home as a child and I said, oh, somebody got attacked, or somebody's family member or sister got attacked, my own mother would have given me a slap, said, why did you bother coming home if you didn't protect that person? That's how we are programmed.
Okay, okay, Manny. No, I'm not saying I disagree. I agree with you. I don't disagree with this. You should protect your own. You should feel extra sort of hurt, if you like, if someone insults your family member or whatever. That's fine. That's fine. That's on you, and you should do that. You can't turn around and tell someone here is an agreed prescribed list of insults that you can call me. You can't. That is not on you. That
I
is not
agree.
your
I agree.
decision.
And I agree. And therefore, it goes back to what I said when Tan was around, that freedom of speech, as Tan has taught us, only works in a society of advanced beings. For example, an advanced being would not attack another person's family because it's like a preconceived rule of an advanced human being. You and
No, no,
I
it's
could
not.
have the greatest argument, but you and I are not going to attack each other's family, right?
No, but that's not. No, that is not as an advanced, an indication of an advanced being. What it actually, because whatever I say, if someone of your family member has done something or said something that, because everybody's somebody's family member. If you're at you right now, call Triple X, whatever, I forgot his name. He's got family, doesn't he? He's got brothers, he's got sisters, he's got
I haven't
mothers and
attacked his family.
fathers. But what I mean is, to that mother, to that brother, you're attacking their family member. So if you attack Abu Talha, if you attack Saida, you attack whatever, whoever, they have family members.
Yeah, but
You
I've
are
never
attacking
attacked.
their family
I've
member
never attacked
effectively.
anyone. Mine's reactionary, and this is why the only reason
Well,
I back up Raj, because like I said the other day on my live stream, Raj is reactionary. Now, if Raj
Oh, thanks for
turned
that.
around and
Thanks for that.
started
Thanks for that.
attacking people, then I would say to Raj, I would pull him to one side and say, Raj, you are now attacking. But Raj is reactionary.
I know, but what I'm saying is you are always, whenever you insult or attack verbally anyone, you are attacking somebody's family member. So you are, whether you like it or not, inadvertently, by simply addressing something that that person has said, you are attacking a member of someone else's family
All right.
because they
Can I say
belong to
that's
a family. So
yeah,
you're
but
always attacking
what
someone's family
yeah,
member.
I know, but you're doing something that's obviously you're trying to be clever. You are clever though, so I'm not gonna say you're
No, no,
trying
but what I
to.
mean is,
But
if you think
but
about it,
you do understand. But your logic, you're trying to say that uh, you're basically every time you're saying something about anybody, you're attacking somebody's family. Yeah,
exactly, you
but
are.
yeah, I know, but you know what we're talking about. We're talking about
I know that you're
if
saying
you
that
know.
you don't.
I know, but if we're looking at it from an emotional standpoint, yeah, if you were to attack an individual and you don't know who their family is, you don't know who this is, you don't know who that is, you're just attacking that individual. Obviously, if that individual's family member heard it, they would be upset. But you wasn't personally attacking their family. They would be upset by the words you have said to their family member. Now, if I was to then attack that person's family member by saying your mum's this or your thing is this, then you're attacking that particular individual. Yeah, they're going to be you're attacking them personally. Yeah, and their family member, and you can't equate the two as being the same, in my opinion.
Yep, no, but you can, because you see, if I say I'm talking to you and I have a verbal confrontation with you, by the way, everybody here in the text, I don't know, someone put down, I'm conflating violence with speech in discussion. No, I'm talking about verbal discussions that can get heated, verbal discussions that can go into ad hominems and swearing and all of that stuff. And that's all I'm talking about. It's just verbal discussions. Now, if you and I, Raj, are talking and we have a verbal discussion and I attack you and I throw ad hominems at you and you attack me and you throw ad hominems at me. Yes, we are doing it to each other. And it's tit for tat. But if you're not here and I'm talking about, oh, you know that Raj and you know what he did and da, 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 then if your sister hears this speech, then I'm attacking her brother. So I am attacking her family member. Whether you think of it that way or not, is irrelevant. You are attacking that person from your sister's perspective. I'm attacking her brother.
It's
So
not the same because
she should
if
be twice
you
as more
if you
upset than
said
you.
if Banksy said, "Oh, Manny has a big nose," and I said, "Well, Banksy has four eyes and he's wearing glasses," we are just attacking each other,
Yeah,
right?
but if your
However,
brother
if
heard
I
you,
stepped over the mark and said Banksy's four children and his wife X, Y, and Z, then I'm overstepping the mark. So when we are attacking each other, it's fine
yeah, I
to a
know,
certain degree. That's free speech. But when you attack people beyond that,
but
then
that's
we
still
bring in
free
the moral
speech.
compass.
No, no, that's still free speech. That doesn't change that point.
It's
What
not
it
free
what
speech. I'm not saying. I'm not asking Theresa May, the dirty hoe, the bitch of
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's
you're
good.
attacking someone's sister
up.
or mother or son,
Asking I'm not
son,
asking that
daughter.
evil witch to point any nuclear scud missiles towards you, Banksy.
I
Of
know.
course, I'm not even retaliating. I'm just saying that you have now crossed the moral boundary.
Well, again, from your perspective,
Of
not
course.
it's purely
All I was
subjective.
saying is
My
that
my problem is,
I was saying that we, as you got to remember that even though I don't follow the Sikh religion religiously, I'm not ignorant to not realize that my blueprint is Sikh from a Sikh family, and that I am a British Sikh, British Punjabi. I admit that. This is why when people say you're a Sikh, I go, okay. Do you understand? I never turn
yeah,
around and
I agree
say,
with
actually, mate, I don't follow the religion. I'm not blah blah blah. Because I know that if I was born a certain way, that's who I am.
Your
you. Yeah, no,
your
guys,
cultural seat, basically.
guys.
Whatever. Again, it doesn't matter what you label me, or I would say that I'm probably the best person, human being in the world. Only joking. I'm only messing around. It was a joke.
No,
Oh,
I know, but guys, I will say this. This is at least when it comes to the rules of the internet. I'm not discussing it in the rules of the park or the rules of the street. I'm talking about the rules of the internet. When you set yourself up like this, that you have a blatant sore spot, the internet dictates that that is exactly what people are going to attack you on. That's what happens on the internet. Now, for me, there is no avenue, there is no angle in which you are going to hurt my feelings. Doesn't matter who it is that you're referring to. It doesn't matter who you're talking. You can talk about my mother, my brothers, sisters, aunties, uncles, grandparents, whoever you want. I have gone beyond leaving myself open to that level of vulnerability.
I
And
completely agree with that. And if you attack my family members like that, and it's already have done, I
I
haven't
know.
batted an eyelid because I expect it, so I understand. I'm just saying, as a moral code for humanity, that is something
Yes.
that we should not cross. I've already had that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. No,
No one has.
I
I'm an elephant. Do you know why? I have thick skin. It doesn't matter to me. If anybody could advance
and the long trunk.
thickness of skin, do you know what? I'll just create a whole marketing budget and I'll just go at it. It doesn't matter to me.
yeah.
But
No,
And you
Manny.
forgot to say,
go
and you
beyond
forgot
that.
to say,
My point is,
and you
I'm
forgot,
trying to help everybody and say we shouldn't go beyond that. That's my
I
whole
agree
point.
with you. I agree with you that if you wish to set a standard and a standard for who you wish to associate with, who you wish to have, hangouts with, who you want to generally chill with, then I agree with you. You want to have that standard. You want to have that sort of line that which you don't want to cross, and you don't, and you don't have to. If someone has said something, or someone has crossed that line for you, you can say, fine. I'm never going to have a hangout with you. I'll never join a panel with you on it. I never talk to you. I won't associate with you. I will have nothing to do with you, and I will not in any way communicate or be on a platform in which you are there. That those rules are perfectly fine. I 100% agree with you on that, and you should have those standards. But what I'm saying is that to say to someone in some chat room or in some text or something, you have crossed the line and you are now in trouble, it's just hollow words, and it's
I,
hollow
on
hollow
No, I agree with you
language.
on that as well.
that
Yeah,
basis, I agree with you, Banksy.
yeah. So what my thing is this: look, if someone cross, I always say if you start bringing in my family, especially if now let me give no, especially if I've never met you, don't know, I've got nothing to lose. There's not even no point even discussing because I don't even know you. Yeah. So what is there to discuss? Now,
Exactly.
obviously, if I've known someone and they said something, I might at least say, why did you say it? And then maybe try and have a discussion. If there's no apology, we're not going to move on. Fair enough. Cool. And I wouldn't, but the thing is, I would never tell, like for yourself, I've never told you, don't talk to that person. Don't talk. I don't really care. You talk to whoever you want, yeah. But the thing is, for me, I have a right to say, all right, that person's crossed the line. Me, I won't talk to that person. That
Exactly.
person crossed the line. Me, we don't talk to that person. It does make it a bit awkward in the sense that we have a group of people who, a lot of us, because we're strong characters, don't get on with each other for one particular reason or another. This happened the other day on my particular live stream where I was getting asked by people. I feel a bit bad. I'm going to say the person's name. I hope he doesn't get upset. But Rob, you know Rob.
Yeah, yeah.
Rob,
Speaker's
Rob,
corner, Rob. Yeah.
yeah, no, yeah, Rob wanted to come on, but the problem was I wanted other people to come on the show more than him. I know it sounds bad. And so I had to make the decision, do I get Rob on or do I get that person? Because I knew I couldn't have two or three people of the same people because they disliked each other so much that the show would have just went to shit. So I had to kind of make that decision. I felt a bit bad, but I thought, all right, let me go for the person I know who won't be as upset because he's more logical. Do you understand? So I was like, all right, if I don't get Rob on here, Rob, he may be pissed off, but if I explain to him, he'll be cool with it, yeah. But these other people, if I explain, well, I don't want you on here because of X, Y, Z, it won't go the same way. You understand? Yeah. And
Yeah,
so this is where we have problems where we've got lots of different people who don't like each other, get on with each other, don't like, and some people are falling out one week, next week they're talking. And so we just have this thingy, but that's just the way human life is, man. But on the chats, it can
exactly.
become problematic.
No, Raj, you're absolutely right, and actually, this is the reason why, in the park, when you wanted to do things with big odds,
Yeah,
I don't come anywhere near you guys because there's nothing
yeah,
interesting about that man. There's nothing about him that I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to
yeah,
converse with him. I don't want to waste my recording on him because he's an
yeah,
uninterested, unintelligent individual who I wish to have
yeah,
nothing to do with. So when you go and you want to do your thing with him, I don't come anywhere near you guys because I have nothing to share. There is nothing of interest
yeah,
coming out of that man towards me. So I am nothing. There's nothing about him that I particularly find interesting. It's him, Jedi, few other people. I simply don't have to
yeah,
associate with these people. These people are nobodies to me anyway. Why would I waste my time if I don't? If I'm not interested in them, so
yeah,
I don't approach them. I never talk to them. I never have anything to do with them. So that's fine.
yeah,
The same with the internet. There was a hangout that Manny you allowed, I think, Sia Live or whatever to do. I asked, can I come on the panel? She didn't want it. You said, well, you didn't respond, but generally there was a hint that I'm not welcome on that particular show. That's it. No hard
yeah,
feelings. I even threw out a couple of like Manny's being, he's being controlled by the Muslims, kind of throwaway joke comments.
yeah,
But generally, there was no hard feelings from Manny. There's no hard feelings from me. We get along. We carry on. It was just that show that she was controlling, and she wanted that particular panel, and that's it. That's how life is. We don't all have to get along. We don't all have to constantly associate with each other. We associate with the people that we choose to associate with, and those who we don't need to associate with, we don't, and that's fine.
yeah, but
My
it's
data
actually,
misfit crew is the most progressive and
yeah,
advanced group in Speaker's Corner. Sorry, Raj.
and I was about to say that as well. I mean, like, the group, like I said to Betty, if she's listening, you can't leave. Yeah, the group is not about joining or not joining. Either you're in it or you're not. You can say you've left. It's a bit like the X-Men. I always compare it to the X-Men. If you look at Cyclops and Wolverine, they hate each other. Yeah, they've been in near bus stops where they tried to kill each other over what's the name? I forgot the name, Jean Grey and stuff. But they're still a group, aren't they? Yeah, you can still be a group with having clashing egos or clashing personalities in there. And people are saying free the Rob. Now, Rob is free. Next time I do a live stream, I'll get him on, but not just on that particular one because I had a few topics I had to talk about, and I knew if he jumped on, it might have got derailed. So I have to be quite ruthless on that one, unfortunately.
Right, I really want to lay into vegetarian and globalism.
Go on, go on. I'm gonna come back in a bit. Then, 20 minutes. Yeah, do your thing. Do your thing. Go on.
Okay, so let's start off with the yellow vest protest, which is about globalism. Right, so what we all need to realize that globalism is basically a big corporate unison business. And what I mean by that is if big corporations, world corporations want to make money of, for example, everybody eating food and water, then certain things need to happen. For example, farming is very lucrative, but only if everybody is vegetarian or vegan, i.e. not meat eaters, because eating meat is actually much more healthier for the planet, not for the animal, but for the planet than it is for if we all became vegetarians, which helps obviously the animals, especially when they are slaughtered in a inhumane way, such as sitting their float and draining their blood and letting them suffer. But unfortunately, we are human beings, and Banksy. The reason this is why Banksy is perfect to be here, because Banksy knows that we human beings, we are predators. We have eyes positioned in our skull in a certain way to look forward, to focus in, i.e., we are meat eaters. Our digestive system is attuned to have both vegetarian food and healthy protein, which is meat on a regular basis. And the way we are being moved, i.e., everybody to become a political vegan, to become a political vegetarian, which at the same time, globalism and environmentalism is being drawn up to say it's too expensive to get a taxi, it's too expensive to buy a car and put diesel and petrol in it because it's global warming. Why do you think all the riots are happening in France? They don't want to pay the extra charges. Where is the extra tax going? Why would you want to tax somebody to prevent climate change? That's like me taxing Banksy to save my feelings. Could I tax Banksy to save my feelings? Of course not. It's fucking ludicrous.
Feelings tax.
Yeah, feeling tax. It's just ludicrous. Who says if you drive too fast, we're going to give you a speeding ticket? If you park in the wrong place, we're going to give you a parking fine. It's fucking ludicrous. I'm just sick and tired how thick people have become. And now they're saying if you're going to eat too much meat, if you're going to travel too far and put petrol in your car, we're going to charge you carbon tax. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. And I've had enough. Fancy.
There you go. Yeah, you tell him. You tell him, Manny. Okay, as far as the meat side is concerned, uh, human beings are we've evolved. I mean, of course, I'm going to take the evolutionary aspect of this because that's the facts. And we've evolved to be omnivorous creatures. Now, although we do eat far more meat than we should, as our evolutionary past hasn't completely made us the carnivores that we appear to be, but we're omnivorous, and we should have a larger vegetable and fruit to meat diet. Our balance, we are out of balance in that sense. We have far too much meat in our diet, but that doesn't mean we don't eat meat at all, or we shouldn't eat meat at all. It just means that we have to have a better, healthier balance of meat and veg and carbs. By the way, carbohydrates, rice, bread, things to do with wheat and stuff. These are not particularly natural either, by the way. These are products that were made because they make you feel full quicker. And these were farmed. These are manufactured items. These are not necessarily naturally found things. Rice and wheat and stuff is not found just all, in the wild as often as people think. These things are farmed products, and so anything farmed, you have to be careful of recognizing that these were not the kind of products that we would eat the most often in caveman era, or when we were hunters and gatherers. So you have to, there's a lot of people who talk about the paleo diet. Now, if you actually look into that, you'll find that yes, it makes much more sense in a lot of ways, because we wouldn't be normally drinking as much milk as we drink. Milk isn't for us. Milk is for baby cows to become big giant cows. Milk isn't something you should be drinking once you've gone through the infant period. Isn't something that we should be drinking as much as we do. So yes, cow products, milk, butter, cheese, these things are not really made for us. They're made for cows. The cows do not produce their milk for us. So these are other artificial things that we have too much of. Although again, in relative balance, you can do well. But if you're out of balance with these products, that's the reason why we have the problems that we have. So try to be more balanced with these things. Of course, I'm not looking at me, a giant fucking hungry hippo waddling around Speaker's Corner. Clearly, I have missed the balance at some point. So I'm not I'm not
As a
here holding up an example of the greatest physique and health representative. I'm just telling you what I know that is right, not what I do. Don't do as I do, do as I say.
Absolutely. And also with my research, I have found that if you live in a hotter climate, for example, India, you can have more of a vegetarian or certainly a carbohydrate led diet because the sun burns more calories. But if you are living in Canada, or if you're living in Greenland or in Scotland, for example, you need a higher protein diet because you need to keep warm. So the climate makes a difference. Your body type keeps a difference. Now, me, for example, if I have more of a vegan vegetarian diet, I turn out, I start looking like a Teletubby. Okay,
Yeah,
because my body does not burn carbohydrates the same. However, when I go to India and sometimes I have to live there because I do business there for like 2 3 months, right? So I have a vegetarian diet because who the hell would want to eat meat in India anyway? They can't even wash dishes properly in the restaurants and hotels, let alone meat. So
yeah,
when I go there, I have a vegetarian diet and I lose weight. Why? Because it's stinking hot and I'm not used to that temperature and I burn the calories. Right
yeah.
now, another way of looking at it, Banks, and I'll let you come in after this. A lot of the North Canadian, Native American, Eskimoian type people, when they move to America or into Canada and develop cancer, right, and they're given a lot of the time they said, look, you have 6 months to live, 12 months to live. They go back to their motherland, start eating blubber, i.e., whale and all other fish protein diets, and the cancer goes away and they start living back again. So it has to be something to do with the Western diet, whether it's lack of nutrients and vitamins, or whether it's the fact that we're eating a load of carbohydrate, aka rubbish. That's making us have these issues. On the other hand, then you speak with Witness Speaker's Corner, who is a vegan, and he says he eats a lot of lentils, and he's built like a bodybuilder. So, what does that tell us?
Well, I mean, yeah, the thing is, yes, you can. I mean, there are bodybuilders apparently, according to the vegans, there are actually bodybuilder vegans, like full-on bodybuilders. But of course, they use steroids, and these vegans don't actually talk about how these guys are injecting steroids into themselves, and growing abnormally anyway. So everything about a bodybuilder's life is an unhealthy, abnormal life. These bodybuilders may look like the physique, perfect physique of health, but they're actually not. They do very unhealthy things, and they have very unhealthy mixtures of intake like they go through famine and feast a lot, where they eat a huge amount to bulk up, and then they suddenly have to just basically starve themselves before competitions to just totally shed themselves of any kind of excess water and stuff in order to have that lean look. So a bodybuilder is not an example of a healthy individual. Believe me, they look good. They're not necessarily the people you should be following as far as health is concerned. But there are obviously healthy people. Look at Olympic swimmers. Look at professional footballers and tennis players, and people of that region nature, because they tend to have a better food exercise balance, although they do extreme sports which injure them as well, so that's a whole other thing. But generally, bodybuilders shouldn't be your goal as far as healthy people are concerned. But as far as eating is concerned, yes, I think that there are certain people from certain region of the world that do better in their own region of the world. This is weird. I know it sounds almost racist, but I feel better in hot climates than I do in British climate. I genuinely do. I get terrible winter depression. I have terrible, just all around health during winter and during dull, rainy days. Whilst when I'm in warmer climates, when I'm in Spain or in Middle East, I just feel better. I feel healthier most days. I just feel brighter. But then again, I was listening to a comedian, an Australian comedian, last night down at this comedy show that we went to, and he was talking about how he lost the will to say good day in Britain because it's not a good fucking day most of the time in Britain. You open the window and it's miserable and horrific, and you just think this is not a good day. So Australians, even white Australians, are happier in the sunny weathers. I think sunny weather is just is a happier environment, creates a happier mood than the wet, dull, dingy sort of weathers that we experience in Britain. So maybe that's really the core of it. It's just people are happier in sunnier climates. But as far as people from warmer countries going back to their region and feeling more comfortable, more better, I think there's something to be said about that. Maybe there is a certain process of an evolutionary process that took place historically, and these climates, the climates of the Western European nations, are just not a place where we naturally fit into. I don't know what the research is on that. I don't think there is, because of the racial aspects and the racial overtones. I doubt any scientist or any group has actually gone out and done any actual research to see if people from Syria are happier in Syria, people from India are happier in India than they are in Sweden or Switzerland. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
So
I doubt.
I'm going to bring the conversation back to the yellow vest. How can we say protests going on in France in regards to the oil and the
Yeah,
prices, and I'm going to bring in my commodity trading experience in a second, and I also want to direct the conversation eventually back towards the final subject, which is Tommy Robinson. Now, and let me tell you something, as a former commodities trader, that there's three types of oil. When I say oil, that goes into your petrol tank, right? So there is a type of oil that can be extracted from the ground, and it's called sweet crude oil. It doesn't need any filtering. It doesn't need any additional chemicals. It can go straight into your petrol or diesel tank, and it will run smoothly.
whereabouts? Sorry, whereabouts is that?
Well, majority of it is in the Americas. It's in Alaska, which is the best quality, and they don't tell you about that.
And that can go into a petrol
Straight
car
in,
without
doesn't need any
filtering.
filtering.
Crude oil.
It's
Seriously?
called, this type of crude oil is called sweet crude oil.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Libya is one of the big sources of
Right.
it as well. But
Right. There is no reason for us to be, how can I say, so OTT about what type of goes into what tank. It's almost as if they're manufacturing these different. Obviously, they are different qualities of oil, and what have you. But a lot of the time, with this extra taxes and this whole climate thing and so on and so forth, it's not fair. It's not right. It's not how it's supposed to be. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like they project this kind of manufacturing cost, because everything has an underlying cost, right? So take gold, for example. So whatever it takes the mining company to employ a miner to go down the shaft to mine the piece of gold, which is then formed part of the bullion coin, which is then sent to a Western country, for example, like Britain, which is then handed over. All that is a different cost and handed over. But with sweet crude oil, which happens to be in its plentiful in places like Alaska, which they don't really confirm to be in plentiful, there shouldn't be that extra cost.
Well, the thing is, there's two things you mentioned. The first of all, I want to just quickly touch on this before I forget it. The yellow vests in France. Well, one thing I will say, they are not necessarily right wingers or left wingers. They are just people who are fed up of what Macron is doing. This is one thing I want to get clear, because I think in this country, especially since the Tommy Robinson thing and people wore those vests, people are going to begin to associate the yellow vests in France as just right wingers who want to who are pissed about the left wing government of France. That is not the case. These are just people who live in rural areas who may be to some extent right leaning or center right, but they still talk about they want their healthcare service, their free healthcare service, to be taken care of better. They still talk about all their socialist programs that they want to have taken care of better. They're talking about Macron being the president of the rich, not these don't come across as Republican types. If you think about Republicans, the Trump types in America, they are not that at all. These are not capitalist type people. These are just rural French people who are getting fed up of being squashed down and tramped on by the Macron government. That is what is going on in France. This shouldn't be conflated with potentially the Tommy Robinson and Brexit thing that happened last week, or any of that sort of stuff. These two things are distinct. They're not necessarily, and I can wager those French protesters may not necessarily agree with the Tommy Robinson types that came on Sunday last week in London. So these two groups are not to be conflated. That's what I wanted to sort of
Okay.
address.
So let's look at it this way. Let's go back to the food situation, right? So we're told that there's going to be extra tax imposed on meat products in supermarkets, just like they've done with plastic bags, just like they've done with many other things. There's going to be an extra tax. And because eating meat, they're going to say, oh, it's so inhumane and they treat them so badly. Even though I'm from a farming family and a farming community, and we don't treat any animals in an inhumane fashion. So I know. So I'm not talking complete BS. I'm talking from experience. And one of my closest friends is a dairy farmer in Kent, right? So I'm not talking complete. So that, imagine the situation: you can't eat meat. We're going to have to charge you more because it's not very environmentally friendly and it hurts the feelings of all the different animals. But you're going to have to eat vegetarian products. You're going to have to eat a lot more wheat. You have to have a lot more spinach, and you're going to have X, Y, and Z. But our bodies are not really created for it. But that's a side subject. So at the same time, you can't put diesel in your car. You can't travel. What do you mean? Where do you want to go, mate? You want to go to London? No problem, mate. Well, you're 6 miles away. Because petrol and diesel is so expensive, it's going to cost you a mortgage to get there. So what do? Everything from your shopping, everything from your job, everything from anything you can think about has to be on your own doorstep because it's so expensive to either walk. They'll talk. They'll even, if they want to, they'll even charge you for your breath of air. So what happens, right? So you can't farm. Do you own a farm, Banksy? No, you don't. Does Raj own a farm? Of course not, right? So what's going to happen?
Well, well,
Those
Manny.
that own a farm, those that own access to a farm, and those have access to the farmers who sell their produce to them, i.e., supermarkets, will get to charge whatever they want. And then they'll say, human beings are so expensive. They're breathing too much air. They're eating too much. But the truth of the matter is, you can't sustain yourself properly on a completely vegetarian diet. You've got to see where this whole global climate, vegetarian, vegan, extra taxes, carbon tax. This is where it's all going, and it doesn't really take more than two brain cells to figure it out, in my opinion, Banksy.
Well, The thing is, as far as the carbon tax is concerned, now there's going to be two scenarios that's going to emerge from this situation. Of first of all, if they're going to put taxes on meat because, and they're going to give us bullshit excuses of, well, it's because cows produce too much, I don't know, methane, and it's cruel to kill cows. If they're going to go down that road of the vegan, vegetarian arguments, people are going to resent vegans and vegetarians in large numbers, and I'm talking possibly dangerous numbers, especially if they're going to tax people. You see how the Muslims are crying out how terrible it is that Muslims are getting attacked. Muslim women get attacked in the streets every time there's a terrorist attack by a Muslim. Imagine how people are going to start treating vegans and vegetarians if they put a tax on meat. So yes, that's gonna create a great deal of hostility towards the vegans and the vegetarians in our society. So that's number one. Number two, as far as the carbon tax thing is concerned, first of all, I think that these things are bullshit in the sense that the government is happy to tax you to put up the price of diesel and petrol, but will not provide you with adequate uh, alternatives. They will not provide you with adequate train or bus or other sort of services, or even fund government funded electric vehicles. Governments who will subsidize electric vehicles. How about making subsidizing Tesla? How about subsidizing hybrid cars? How about doing something that will encourage people and make it cheaper to buy alternative vehicles, so you're not driving petrol or diesel cars? They told us a few decades back, or it was, I don't know, it was like 10 years ago, buy diesel. Diesel is so much better than petrol. And now they're telling all those poor bastards who went and bought diesel to ditch their diesel cars because it's still polluting, it's still creating bad sort of what's it called, air quality. And so now they have to go and buy fucking hybrids or electric cars. So now those same poor bastards who listen to the government telling them to go and buy diesel are now being punished for doing what the government told them to do. This is bullshit. This is all bullshit games. The way I see it is, don't listen to the government when it comes to their advice on what type of vehicle you should buy. Personally, I would, if you can afford an electric car, get an electric car. If you can't, get yourself a hybrid. That's my next car, is a hybrid. There's no way I'm listening to these fucking assholes about diesel and petrol and any of that. Fossil fuels are limited. They are going to end. Doesn't matter whether they end this year, next year, or 100 years. They are going to end. They have a they have a shelf life. That's it. There will be a time where there will be no more oil around the world for us to dig up. We have to start investing in alternative ways of carrying ourselves around the planet, or around our cities and streets. We have to start investing in that. That's inevitable. What form that's going to take, I'm not 100% sure, because even electricity uses fuel. Electricity, it doesn't come from air, it doesn't naturally just occur, it doesn't grow like fruit. You have to burn something to generate your electricity. So whether you're using electric cars or not, yeah, your car may not be producing harmful gases, but the power plant that you're charging your car from has to burn something for it. So that's still gonna, you're shifting the burden just one person down the line. And so this still has to be dealt with at some point. And also, right now, there's a lot of fears about how far an electric car gets you, with electric charging points and all of these things not being as widely available as all that. So the government and the society as a whole has to encourage you, has to make it easy for you to want to buy an electric car. Right now, where I live, in the way I live, I cannot have an electric car unless I run a cable down flights of stairs and run it all the way out into the street. But I don't have a driveway. I'm not a wealthy person with a luxurious house, unlike Manny, with many servants to plug my car in for. I can't do that. I don't have Jeeves plug my brand new Tesla for me. I have to figure out a fucking way to get electricity from my building to my car, and that is not easy. So I need to have reasonably convenient electric points around the city, car parks, and you got them in some like car parks, superstores like Asda, Sainsbury's, Marks and Spencers, whatever. They have electric ports. Some places in London they have electric ports, but I have to literally go to one of these places and stick my car in for 2 hours or whatever long it takes, so that I can have a full charge on my car. This is a hassle. right now, having an electric car, unless you're wealthy with a house with a nice garage and electric ports and everything near you, it's a pain in the ass. So you
Okay.
have to take those things into account.
Okay, so the date is the 15th of December 2018. I remember I said this, and had you known me in 3 years previously, I would have said it then. That the idea is that just like you charge your toothbrush onto a toothbrush holder, and it charges not via direct connection, but via a wave system,
Yeah,
and
yes.
now they've tried to they've created a mobile phone situation where you put your mobile phone onto a pad, and it directs the electricity and charging from one apparatus to another. That is exactly the type of technology that they've developed, and I need to reiterate, they've already developed this. I know that as a fact. And what they're going to do, first and foremost, there'll be pads. For example, in public spaces, we go to, for example, supermarket car parks. You park your car and it charges it up just like a toothbrush does when it touches a toothbrush holder. Then eventually, they'll have these charging. I don't even know what they call them now. It's been a while since I came privy to the information. Where they'll be disclosed in search a certain I don't know, I can't remember what they were called. So as you're driving, your car will be charging, and I don't mean like a hybrid car, but there'll be charging points as you're driving. So that's the type of technology that they're pushing. So when these new mobile phones came out a year or so ago, saying that you can just put it on a pad and they get charged, for me it was nothing, because I already knew that's where technology was going,
Yeah,
and
contactless
and what they
charge.
created.
Sorry, you're talking about. You see, there are two things you're probably alluding to. One is what we already have, which is wireless charging, in the sense that it is a pad or something that you put your device on, and it starts to charge that through conductive electricity. But then you're also potentially, I don't know if you know about this, is Wi-tricity. Wi-tricity is kind of like Wi-Fi, in the sense that you don't plug anything into your machine. You just simply, on your phone, on your mobile device or whatever, you just turn on the electricity option, and there's something plugged into the wall socket, which then is effectively giving out these electricity waves of electricity. Well, it's not a wave; it's just a sound wave, actually, which
Sure,
creates energy. It's described in a way that, an opera singer, the old saying, when an opera singer can
absolutely.
sing and then it vibrates the glass and
And
the
can I
glass smashes.
can I just say that this whole Wi-tricity concept just proves what spiritual people have always said, that everything. And if Sarah Garvey is listening, he'll be interested to know this, is that everything is energy form. Everything is waveform. So whether it's television, whether it's satellite waveform or radio and whatever. So everything is actually energy, and being able to charge just by clicking an option, and then your device is remotely charged no matter where you are, as long as it's within a certain connection, proves that everything is energy, and what spiritualists believe, that we are not how can I say, anything but forms of energy ourselves as human beings.
Yeah, I mean, well, you're now delving into what is known as M theory or string theory. Well, string theory became M theory, which is membrane theory, which is the explanation of this universe and potentially other universes, which are all effectively, we are a symphony of sounds, but very, matter is effectively sound waves, but it is extremely slow sound waves. Effective, that's what they basically are alluding to, is that everything that we know is a sound wave. It is a wave. Everything is a wave. It's just, it's almost like the way I picture it in my head is, how glass is liquid. No matter
Yeah,
how robust it looks, it's still a liquid that is in constant motion. But basically, that's what everything is. It's not only that glass is liquid and that we appear to be solid matter, but we are actually not solid matter at all. That we are actually waves, but extremely slow moving waves of energy that uh, that appear solid, but in fact we're not. But I mean, these are all, you're getting into M theory, and I highly recommend for those of you who wish to know about it, look at a documentary on YouTube called. It was done by man, I forgot. It's some American company like Discovery Channel or something. They did a whole documentary on M theory, and it explains it a little bit better. But in all honesty, when it comes to quantum theory, it's so incredibly complicated that uh, a layman like me wouldn't even begin to be able to explain it to you guys. Um, and even those who are experts have a tough time trying to describe it to anyone. So it's very, very difficult to get a grasp of these concepts. But nevertheless, as far as the charging thing is concerned, now I want to get back to these taxes that we're paying for, which ultimately are, I think, literally, I actually see these as what's it called, extortionist type of tax. Every time a government wants to screw its population, they just say nowadays, oh, it's to do with the carbon, it's for the environment. It's kind of like giving you a guilt excuse of, well, if you don't pay the tax, well, do you want us all to die? Do you want your children to die? Well, then you have to pay this tax because this is for the good of the planet. We're not taxing you because we're greedy bastards who have very bad money management when it comes to running this country. No, no, no. This is for the good of the planet. Don't
Well,
you want to save the planet?
I actually went to school, secondary school, with somebody who is now a captain of ships, for transport ships, and he said he's never seen a single carry bag in the ocean, and he travels everywhere. He said, I've never seen a single carry bag in the ocean, yet we are paying carry bag tax.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, the oceans. It's not like it's everywhere, but it is. It starts to basically congregate around, like, because the waves
Where
just
he
push
hasn't
it.
seen it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. Because have you ever seen that program, The Island with Bear Grylls?
I'll tell you what I have seen. I've seen a dream where some prick with a camera underwater releases about 50,000 bags that he's got from Sainsbury's and Asda, and theoretically releases them, takes a picture and says, look at all these carry bags in this beautiful island of Honokukupupu. I've never been
I
to an
guess
island called Honokukupupu.
I guess we're gonna have to fly out there just to see for ourselves. I suppose that might be the only way.
So
Sorry, I just
what?
had to cough.
No, no, that's okay. I want to read out the conversation towards Tommy Robinson, mate.
Yes.
So I need to discuss with you. I need to formulate. Obviously, we need to. Look, the likes of you and I, we're very comfortable, and Raj, we're very comfortable going to the Tommy Robinson style, Brexit style, pro Britain style, pro freedom, pro constitutional style events. We've got more than two brain cells. We can fathom that it's not about racism, blah blah blah, X, Y, and Z. So how do we bring in into action all those of our good fellow ethnic British people who also want to participate and perhaps are too busy scratching their backside? I'm not sure what to make of it. How do we make it into a fully British, modern Britain thing and not just about old England? How do we do that?
How do you mean? You mean this movement, this Tommy Robinson style movements, to bring it into more of a modern sort
Yeah,
of?
at the moment, the only four people of ethnic background that have any bearing is obviously Raj's mainly, and me somewhere in the background trying to make some silhouettes. So my point is like, how do we get? I mean, London, for example, is very multicultural. So how is it even possible that apart from me and Raj, I only saw one other ethnic person in the whole crowd? Obviously, there was other people. There was Witness Speaker's Corner. There was Moses, and the
Yeah.
other ethnic friends that we know, and obviously yourself. But you look more English than Tommy Robinson, so it's
I
ridiculous.
know, I know. They wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't exactly stick out in that crowd
So
as anything different.
how do we make this into a modern Britain fund? Because
I know.
modern Britain situation, because at the same time, what ethnic people don't realise that they have a responsibility to attend these events, because if the movement, and it will progress into something major, and it has already, then if we the British ethnic community, British Indian community, whoever they are, don't have a position, then they're going to be seen as almost as an enemy, if you like. So how do we get them involved, Banksy?
Well, this is the problem. This is the meme that has been sold so far, is that these people who follow Tommy Robinson, people who follow UKIP, are all racist, and they have this is the mainstream media who has divided these people, this country, into the racist and the non-racist, and anyone who is Brexit is racist. They've I know it sounds like they haven't been successful in this selling this idea of anyone who supports Brexit is racist, but they actually have. They have been successful in selling the concept to the non native English, native British people, like people like yourself, the Indians, the Sikhs, the Caribbean, Afro-Caribbean people, and so on and so forth. So, and even Muslims, but the old generation, the first generations that came over, not the new ones. They've These guys would all agree on a lot of the policies that 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 are within these movements, that are within UKIP, that we need to have a tighter control of just our borders. We need to have a tighter control of our own laws and not let Europe constantly, dictate to us what we should do. Even those first generation migrants would agree with those ideas. I know a lot. I talk to a lot of older migrant Iranian Arab type people, who are in their 60s, and they all agree with these things. None of them are disagreeing with these, and I would say a lot of them are secret Brexiters, if not openly Brexiters. It's just that they can't come out and say it because they will be, tarred and feathered by the modern society, by the modern liberal sort of lefty younger people, of what's it called, of being either racist or they just go, oh, grandma's just crazy today. You
So
know what I mean? It's like,
are you saying that the lefty globalist corporate bullshit fake media is winning the war against the masses?
it's not that they're winning. They've become success. They've been successful enough to at least keep people who are of a migrant background, who agree with the UKIP ideas and the Tommy Robinson type, who not really Tommy Robinson, but the UKIP. I would say UKIP is a better example because UKIP has multiple issues, whilst Tommy Robinson is a one issue guy. His thing is stick up his ass is about Islam, and that's all his thing is. If you take that away from him, if you actually get rid of Islam in Britain, Tommy Robinson will be irrelevant again. He will have nothing better to do. But with the UKIP concept, or people of, for Britain, UKIP, all of these types, they have multiple platforms, multiple issues, and one of them happens to be migration. But there are tax reforms, there are the European Union, the European Commission, the European Parliament. They have a lot of issues with these things, which a lot of old school migrants, Indians, Pakistanis, what's it called, Sikhs, Afro Caribbeans, a lot of these guys are on board with all these. They're I know a lot of people who I talk to who are on board with Brexit. It's just the media has forced them to be quiet, because if they say something, if they're too outspoken about it, they're going to be branded Uncle Toms. They're going to be branded traitors. They're going to be, potentially even attacked by younger people. There have been cases where older people have been attacked by younger people, physically, if not harshly, verbally, because they're not this socialist. They don't carry the socialist agenda, or they don't wave the socialist leftist flag. And this is the problem. They won't come out because I think it's to some extent a degree of fear, and also they still think that the Tommy Robinson guys are racist, and that if they come out, they'll be standing side by side with a bunch of people who ultimately will turn around and tell them, "Fuck off back to your country," if that person says one thing disagreeable to the Tommy Robinson like. And that has happened. And that is the problem, that I have seen it, that if you disagree with even one aspect of what the Tommy Robinson guys are like, if you go there with one disagreement, I'm not saying disagree on everything or disagree on 50% of things, one issue you go, well, maybe this one I'm not so much on board with, bam, the Tommy Robinson guys are on you. And the word and the howlings of "fuck off back to your country" comes out, and you hear those murmurs. And this is the problem: the Tommy Robinson guys are not all goody two shoes either. They do have those elements within them, and the minute you cross a slight disagreement path with them, you will hear those chants come out, and the "fuck off back to your country" kind of chants sort of resonate. So that is an issue that I think that should be addressed by that group, by the organizers of that group, to recognize that yes, we agree. We don't want Europe. We don't want the European Commission. We want to have controls of our borders and our farming and all the other things. And we want to have a Britain for us again, for the British people first, if you like. But if you're a foreigner, or if you're a descendant of an immigrant who agrees with all of that, but might disagree with one thing, you're going to get a lot of hostility thrown at you. And I think to some extent, maybe Mr. Rax experienced that. And that's why Mr. Rax kind of turned on this group, because I think Mr. Rax, for the most part, was on board until he went to that Veterans Against Terrorism sort of march, and he heard those, you know, Pakistani epithets and all of that stuff, and then he suddenly had a change of heart. So it is, that element exists. I can't deny it. I think that element exists, and this is why, Manny, you said I blend in, and I don't get noticed that much, whilst you and Raj have a different experience in that sort of group. But for the
Why is
most
that?
part,
Why is that though?
sorry,
Why is that?
why is that? Well, I mean, I think it's skin tone, isn't it? Isn't it skin
I don't
tone?
know. I mean, people. I've had one bad experience, and people. I mean, couples and individual people. They show appreciation of me coming there. Obviously, I do get some funny looks as well. It's not that, but on the other hand, you got to remember that I am from Leeds, and when I was growing up in Leeds, it was a very racist city. I believe it's not as racist as it is. So my skin is hardened, and I know from different, because I've lived in three different cities in the UK alone, let alone around the world. That I know that each different part of any country has different type of thought process, and people from different parts of the country, especially Britain, have different processes, and necessarily what they see and how they come across isn't necessarily who they are. And sometimes, especially with Northerners, you have to really break the ice before they just realise that you are more similar to them than they realise. For example, with Northerners, they're so used to illiterate Asian members of the community that they automatically have their backup. Now, I don't see that as racism, because I myself find it a bit strange when I see members of my own ethnicity acting and behaving a certain way, because I don't feel that there is a need to act that. So does that make me racist? Well, of course not. It's just that I appreciate that if a group or an individual is not, how could I say, very comfortable about a certain thing, about a certain action, they're naturally going to be what's the right word? Not very comfortable with it, and they may have a more of a longing stare. But should I turn around and call them racist? Of course not. It's my
Mm,
job. I see it as my job to break the ice and show this is who I am. I mean, when I was interviewing the people, we met up before, and when I was interviewing different people, I could see they were very apprehensive. But did I hold that against them? If you look at how Jedi and Respect and all the gang members they see me as some kind of Uncle Tom type of character, whereas I see myself like, well, if I don't grow the bollocks to go and attend these marches, then not only am I letting my own community down, the British community, whether they're white, black, pink, orange, purple, and spots, and as well as the British black community and everybody else down, because I haven't been bothered to give two hoots to go there and say Britain is not just about what you think it is. Britain includes the likes of me. So it would be very easy for me to say, I'm just going to chill back, rather watch, I don't know, I think it was Arsenal versus Man United playing that weekend or whoever it was. I could just stay home and watch a bit of Sky Sports, but I don't do that. I go like, I'm there to make sure that we are all represented in these main matches.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you that I think that's my. I mean, I would say I would like to say I've got such lofty goals to go there and actually represent anyone. I go there to record videos and try to publish, which I haven't, by the way. This week I haven't published one video of that entire weekend. But I go there to sort of be a fly on the wall and record as much as I can, and try to represent what actually happened as much as I can. But also, I had people like yourself and other people who I wanted to meet up with. So my goals were not as lofty and as virtuous as going there to be part of this Brexit movement. Although my mere presence should have at least indicated that yes, I agree that we should get the fuck out of Europe and get rid of the European Commission and the European Parliament and be away from their oppressive, effectively regime, which is what I'm sort of seeing the European Commission and Parliament becoming. But as far as representation of like an ethnic minority, no one would even know I'm of an ethnic minority if I didn't tell people openly. I would just stand there and I would just simply blend in. So my my efforts of trying to represent ethnicity are not I would be wasted unless I actually spoke out and said, yes, I'm here, hello, I'm from the Islamic Republic. And but one thing I will say, Manny, I think the reason they may have been apprehensive with you recording is I think most people are now, especially when they see ethnic reporters, they are worried that they will be badly represented in their interview, that they will have fake editing of their views
I see.
represented on the internet. I think that is what really what most people are worried about reporters in general. I've had many people come up to me say, are you from the BBC? Are you from Sky? I'm like, no, I just publish crap on the YouTube. I'm just like a small time YouTuber. One guy didn't even believe me at first. I was like, no, seriously, I'm just a YouTuber. I'm a nobody. Because they are constantly worried about the mainstream media sending people in and then using badly edited or out of context edited videos of them saying things which will make the movement look bad, which is
That's a
unfortunately
good.
a
You're
fact of.
right. You're right, Banksy, because I now you said that, and now I understand what my thought process was. They were very apprehensive, and for the second couple that I interviewed, I almost had to start the whole interview saying, "Do you feel that you are labelled racist?"
Yeah,
Because you are hearing Brexit, because I could just sense that from them. Not so much that they didn't want to interview me. It was like, what's going on. I could see, they were so apprehensive, and I could literally see the energy. They were very nice people. So I started the interview from that, and they were kind of so relieved that I asked that question, and
yeah,
they really rolled with it, and they did ask me first and foremost, where are you from? And I thought, very comically, I thought they were asking me what my ethnicity is, right? So I was like, yeah, I'm from, British Indian and blah blah blah. They said no. Well, they were even more non-racist than me, right? So they were
yeah.
like, no, what media organization? I was like, I'm just a YouTuber. I'm one of those annoying people that have a lot of YouTube videos, and they were like, "Oh no, we like YouTubers, so you're all right." And that's how the ice was broken. So
It's true. It's true. They're actually, this is what I mean. This is why people on YouTube, if you look at big YouTubers, they're always saying the mainstream media, the one battle that they are losing, although they may be at the moment winning the battle of putting fear into people up when it comes to the groups of Brexiters, UKIP, Tommy Robinson, where they want to label them and slander them as racists. And so someone put in text even in this chat that Tommy Robinson would be comfortable with the KKK. No, he wouldn't be. I'm telling you. He
well,
would not be
I've seen the
comfortable.
video where him and his black friends burnt the Nazi flag. So all
Yeah,
that rubbish, and like as pointed out before, there was a Sikh chap involved for my research, involved in the settlement setup of EDL. Now, where EDL went and who was captured as a supporter, I wasn't there. I wasn't privy to the information, but we do know that the Sikh gentleman that was involved, he received many death threats, and therefore he's pulled out. And there was a Sikh division of the EDL. Now, you tell me, if you were a racist member of the EDL, Banksy, would you have condoned a bunch of turban wearing ethnic men joining your
Exactly.
ranks?
Well, this is what I mean. This is what I mean. These are the glaring hypocrisy and the double standards that the mainstream media and other people play. I mean, if I just thought to myself that if before my YouTube channel hit like 1,000 people, I used to have a fairly good handle on my audience. I used to know my audience's mind, or have a reasonable expectation, and know where they're coming from, and all that stuff. And the comment section was relatively well sort of handled, if you like, or well ordered. Whilst now, and it's only been like 1,100 people, is hardly anything, and yet I've lost control of the type of things people are going to say and what's going to happen, and the kind of I just try to keep it so that YouTube doesn't have an excuse to close my channel down. Basically, that's literally all I'm trying to hold on to, is to keep it so that YouTube doesn't have an excuse to take down my videos or take down the channel. But other than that, I've got no control. I've already lost control after just 1,000 people. Imagine hundreds of thousands of people. You know what I mean? Forget it. There's no way you're going to be able to control or have any real grip on the kind of people. And if you have tens of thousands of people like the EDL, you're not going to really have, someone like Tommy Robinson cannot keep a grip on who's going to be members of this group, who's going to join the EDL group in Manchester, who's going to join the EDL group in Scotland, or in York, or in, I don't know, Cornwall. You can't handle all this shit. The
It's true.
logistics of it.
And that fits in well. That he stated that he had to leave EDL because he couldn't stop the racist
Yeah.
continuously taking over in different forms, and that's why he left EDL in the first place. And like I said, if the evidence presented is true that there was ethnic, i.e., Sikh Punjabi person involved in the setting up, and on top of that, there's video evidence of Tommy and his black friends burning the Nazi flag. Then there's no question of Tommy being racist.
Well, apparently there's either a footage, or certainly it was anecdotal story that I heard on Sunday last week, where Tommy had actually punched out a Nazi, that, or at least had punched a Nazi. He didn't, like, I don't know, apparently couldn't knock him out because Tommy's sort of a small guy, but generally he really put an effort in trying to punch people who were Nazis and kick them out of the organization.
well,
He really tried.
I actually know somebody who attended his wedding, and there were ethnic people invited by him at the wedding.
There you go. There you go. But what I mean is, I just think I'm not here to, I'm not a massive defender of Tommy Robinson, by the way. I'm not
No, no,
here
I'm not
to
saying
sort
that.
of,
I mean, if there is a hole in his story, I want to disclose it. Not so much to attack him, so that he can improve
yeah.
himself. Because I do genuinely believe that he has the forefront of, he has respect for the country and the people that live in with it. So I'm like you. I'm like, if there is an issue, let's get it out there and let's tackle it and build a big. But I even met a Muslim chap, and I even captured the footage of him saying that he's a Muslim chap, a Bengali chap, I believe, from East London, and he
Yeah.
stated that he had actually met a Muslim that knows Tommy Robinson, and he had told him that he was a friend of Tommy Robinson, and therefore he can't be anti-Islam.
Well, I mean, this is what I mean. I just think that the I just feel that you should give him a fair shake, give him a fair look. Don't buy into the narratives that the mainstream media wants to sell you. Don't look these things up for yourself, and at least give the man a fair shot. Because when I did, and I realized 90% of the stuff that are being said are just straight up slander, and it's unbelievable the kind of slander and libelous stuff that people are getting away with. If it was me, and it has been, I've had slanderous shit put on my channel, and I'm getting like a tiny little minute insight into what the kind of things that Tommy Robinson must be going through, and people like him, people like Sargon of Akkad, and all of these people who've decided to speak out, they must get so much shit. It's unbelievable the amount of slanderous lies that are told about them, the amount of crap that they must just take day in and day out. And I can understand why sometimes these guys explode, they break down, because it must be a continuously daily grind having to
Absolutely.
deal with just people just lying about you all day,
Absolutely.
every day. And you,
Absolutely. I need to go for a quick break, but I'm going to play the video while I'm playing.
sure.
Romy Tomlinson has sent the link, so big up to Romy Tomlinson, the handle name, for sending this over. I'm going to go for a quick break when I play it, but this is the other thing that I was discussing with Raj Banksy, where like now, if you are fighting for your country. You know, for you are aka a nationalist, which is if you want to live in a lovely country and you want to fight to make sure that lovely country occurs or stays the same, then you are now called a racist, which is in itself ludicrous. And what is more ludicrous, and I find it, I'm not sure if it's racist or bigoted or some other type of nice Nazi agenda, that those people, I personally think that you are a terrorist if you believe the people of a nation, no matter what nation. I think you are a terrorist, whether a minor, soft mentality of a terrorist or an outright terrorist, if you think that the people of a country are to blame for the crimes of the establishment. For example, I should be regarded as a minor or a major terrorist if I was to hold accountable white British people for the crimes of the British East India Company or the British establishment in India. Okay, so if I go around saying all white people are to be blamed for the crimes of the establishment of Britain, i.e., the establishment or the British East India Company, then I am either a minor or a major terrorist. But I don't think like that, because I know that the average white British person had F all to do with any of the crimes, any of the commodities, any of the rapes, any of the crimes that was committed. I'm not saying that every single person that was in India was entirely to blame. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that majority of the British white people didn't go to India. They didn't profit. And if you are to say that the average white person profited from the British East India Company and the British monarchy being in India, then that's like saying if a black person, a British black person in Britain has a mobile phone, then because majority of the battery minerals comes from Africa, they are to blame for the slavery and the civil war in central Congo. That's ludicrous, right? It doesn't make sense. So there's no point having that type of mentality. We need to appreciate that our actions and our responsibility do add to the pain, for example, of the extraction of minerals in certain war-torn countries, and we need to move towards that. But we can't just blame every single person of the Western world for buying an iPhone. It's not how it works. Banksy, your final thoughts before I play this
Um,
video?
just a very quick thing that although I hear from the Middle Easterners, from Indians or Pakistanis mostly, and also Africans about the crimes of the colonists and the crimes and it's how terrible and how they want reparations and this and that. And yet I don't hear anything from a South Korean or a Japanese person talking about how the West has screwed them over and how they need to get repaid. You know why? Because their countries are fucking successful, because they're making millions and they're living very highly technologically advanced lives. That's why no Japanese person has ever come to America and said, I have to live here now because you came over and screwed up my country. None of them are saying that. It's only the losers from the Middle East, Africa, and other nations who are complaining and bitching about how they were hard done by the white man.
Absolutely, and this is why I always say, and I made a video on this, that the British could not have put a single foot onto the land of India without the Indian establishment allowing them to do so. So the first and foremost, we need to outline that it was the Indian establishment that allowed the British establishment, including the monarchy, to take over India. Otherwise, it would not have happened. It was first sold as a business and as a corporation, and all the seniority figures, including the Indian royal families, which were Punjabi Sikh by bloodline in their majority. I need to add, because majority of the Maharajas in India were Sikh Punjabi bloodlines, Scythians. That's why a lot of them had the Singh surname. So we know that they were the ones that were sold out, and they were wearing the British monarchy or the British Secret Service crosses on their uniform way before the the British East India Company became a force. So they had sold out many, many years before they became the pirates that they were. But anyway, let's leave that there. I'm going to go for a quick break, but I'll play this video for us, Banksy.
People who want to shut free speech down call us fascists. Folks who hate their own culture call us racist. In reality, we're just a group of young patriots fed up with the system, the mainstream press and the lying politicians. We use peaceful activism to make our voices heard. And contrary to our friends on the radical left, who are probably swarming you right now, we never wear masks. From Paris to Rome, from Vienna to London, we fight peacefully but without compromise for our freedom, our homelands and our identity. This is what I wanted to speak about in autumn, but the conference was cancelled due to threats from the radical left. The venue will not take the risk, so they rescheduled it for March, this time keeping the venue secret. But again, the terror of the left prevailed and the venue dropped out. But this time, I did not want to let them win. It was about principles, and also our flights from England. My last refuge was Speaker's Corner. I remembered my mother telling me about that special place when I was a child. It seemed almost magical to me, a place where everyone, without admission, could just stand on a box and start to speak to those who wanted to listen. I have always loved this tradition of Speaker's Corner, which seemed very British to me. But I have come only to see that this tradition, the tradition of freedom of speech in the UK, is dead. I should be speaking in a neat, warm conference room right now, and you should be sitting in comfortable chairs. Instead, I'm in my cell, and you're on the street in a standoff with the enemies of freedom of speech, and this is very telling. Today, there is a war going on for our freedom of speech. This war is being fought on the streets by you. Every man and woman showing her face today, standing shoulder to shoulder, is standing up against a new totalitarianism that has been growing for far too long. You can be proud of yourself. You might not even agree with me on every point. You're simply given a statement that I should have the right to speak my mind freely. I would love to be among you now. They prevent me from doing so. They locked up the speaker. But I know that the speech will find its way through these iron bars. It will find a way to you. And you're going to hear what your government so desperately wants to protect you from. Those words which they consider more harmful to you than rape gangs or terrorists who are let into your country again and again. I'm going to tell you something nobody has told you before. It's the biggest, most obvious secret of our media and our politicians and the power holders. People of the UK, you are being replaced. There has always been immigration in your history. People coming in, assimilating. But what's happening today is very different. You're being replaced by massive Muslim immigration. You see it everywhere, in London, in Manchester, but also already in the little countryside towns. A big replacement is going on. And let me tell you, your politicians have no plan, no vision, and no idea how to deal with the problems that come along. Problems like you have seen in Telford, Rotherham, and on Westminster Bridge. All across Europe, there is a shadow hanging over our heads. The French are whispering about it in the metro. The Germans murmur about it when they feel unwatched. Italians look left and right if nobody is listening. They tell you, I don't feel at home anymore in my street. We are becoming foreigners in our own country. And again I hear, we're not allowed to talk about it. And that's the bizarre drama of the strange death of Europe. We are being replaced, we are being conquered by radical Islam, and we are not even allowed to talk about it. Dear Britons, defenders of free speech, out of my cell in Conbrook, I want to ask you something. Be honest and raise your hands. Whom of you has ever been in the following situation? You grab a beer after work, or you're visiting your girlfriend's parents for the first time, or you meet other children's parents at school, and suddenly the conversation moves to politics, radical Islam, immigration. Who of you in this very moment was faced with the decision between speaking his mind and facing problems, or complying and staying silent? Raise your hands and be honest. I will not be able to see the results, but one single hand is one too many. This amount of fear should not exist in society. Speech that has social costs and severe consequences is no longer free. It has price, and our government and Antifa are working every day to raise that price. No freedom of speech means no democracy. In front of our very eyes, this country is becoming a tyranny, shutting all debates about immigration down until demographic change solves the issue by replacement. People of the UK, I might be in a cell right now, but you're all in a cell. It's a prison of fear and silence your government, and the PC tyranny has locked you in. Since the days of your childhood, I ask you, I command you, break free. Patriots of the UK, come out of the closet. Make your dissent visible by acts of resistance that inspire others. I know for certain that millions in the UK think like me. Those millions should be on the street now. We need a coming out of the silent majority, or Britain is lost. We need a free, open and honest debate about immigration, about Islam, about demographic change, so we can sort these problems out together. And I know that the force is still in you. With your Brexit vote, you stunned the world. The will and the life of the British nation is not broken. Initially, I asked if freedom of speech is dead in the UK. You, and every one of you who came out today, is a living sign that the traditions of the UK are not dead. You are the lively tradition of your nation, saving its face before history. People of the UK, remember who you are. Remember your glorious past. You are the sons and daughters of knights, of kings, explorers, philosophers and artists. Who is the sovereign in this country? It's you, the people. You, the silent and invisible majority who said no during Brexit. You can say no again. No to Islamisation, no to mass immigration and the great replacement. And yes to your identity, your security, yes to your heritage and the future of your children. All this is impossible without freedom of speech. I know that if these words will find the way to the UK and even Speaker's Corner, it will be victory for our cause. If they did, and if you are hearing them now, I tell you, go further on that winning streak. Don't be afraid because we have an ally. Our ally is unbeatable. Our ally is the truth. Our battle for freedom of speech has just begun. And Speaker's Corner will become a symbolic place in that struggle. When you go home, now I want you to bring the spirit of Speaker's Corner with you. Every single person who raised his hand because he could not relate to the moment of fear, when he will not dare to speak his mind. Promise me, promise yourself this. Next time I will overcome my inner fear. Next time I will speak up.
So that kind of, obviously that was a very powerful speech. It was a very pro British speech, but going back to now, if we are to position ourselves as members of the Muslim community, they're going to hear that and they're going to be filled with fear. They're going to feel that they are ostracized, and they're going to feel that everybody is against them, and that type of thing. So my point was, Banksy, like, how do we get over that? Because not all members of the Muslim community are pedophile rapists. Not every single member of the Muslim community are potentially doing the things that we are being shown, i.e. the evil things. They are far better and good Muslims that just want to get on and living their lives, being with their families, and just carry on being British. So when my fear is, like, for me, that's nothing that, like, even I'm rallied for that, even though he may not be speaking to my genetic cause. I'm rallied with that because I personally believe that the British Constitution, the British common law, is one of, if not the greatest bit of literature available to mankind, in my opinion. But on the other hand, as I'm recently becoming increasingly aware that we don't need to ostracize certain members of the Muslim community. So what was your thought process of that speech? And it was a very powerful speech. And how do we get over this obstacle? Because you are yourself a member of a Muslim family and a Muslim background. So give us your opinion. It'd be very insightful.
Okay. Well, I mean, first of all, I will say this. Now, Michael's, is it Michael Stedler? Damn, the chap who wrote that speech, which Tommy delivered. He is a member of a group called Identity Europa, which their flags were, by the way, flying in London last Sunday. Now, I predicted these types of groups appearing at least 15 years ago. I said it, and not on YouTube. I should have documented it properly on YouTube. It would have been better. It would have been much more evidential. But I actually said it in these chat programs that I use, and the people of those chat programs are now the Muslims who fervently argued with me. No such thing will never happen in Europe. I said it's going to happen. Europe is going to go right wing if you Muslims don't quit fucking around and bombing and terrorizing the people of Europe. You think Europeans and the Americans are weak because they're tolerant. Don't mistake their tolerance for weakness. And this is the biggest mistake that Muslims make. The Muslims think the Westerners are weak because they are tolerant people, because they are people who allow others to live along with them and to get along, and to, they welcome foreigners quite often with open arms, and they used to, certainly, but that was 10, 15, 20 years ago. There was no problem. Immigration wasn't even considered to be a bad thing. You go back to the 90s, go back to the 80s, nobody really was worried about immigration. In fact, in some cases, have absolutely welcomed. We needed doctors and nurses and teachers. So this is number one. This number one is, I predicted this is going to happen because Muslims were pressing the buttons of the Europeans. They were pushing them. There are Muslims right now. I literally have it on live streams. Woman, this crazy Muslim woman rose talking about, oh, I would welcome living on the Sharia. You have no fucking idea what you're talking about. It's these kind of things that infuriate someone like me, because they have no idea what they're talking about. These people are privileged, fat, well maintained, well fed, and well housed individuals who think life would be just peachy on the Sharia, and yet they've never lived a day on the Sharia. And if they actually do live a day on the Sharia, they'll be running back to their Western country quicker than you can say, what the fuck happened. So this is the problem. We have a lot of people who are deluded, who are delusional, who haven't actually lived on the real suffering, and they are making a lot of noise about how great Islam is and how great life under Sharia would be, because they've never actually had to live under Sharia, or even if they did, their parents took them and ran away from it. So this is the conflict that we have in Europe, is that I think Muslims, yeah. Another thing you said, Manny, in regards to vast majority of Muslims are peaceful. This is something I want to say. Anyone out there who ever has any argument about any demographic of anything, the demographic of cows, the demographic of lions, not all of any demographic does anything. You will always find outliers and exceptions in any group ever. To say not all is a terrible argument, the worst argument you can possibly make about anything. Not all of anything does anything exactly the same. So to talk about Muslims and say not all is a terrible argument. Yes, there are Muslims who support Brexit. There are Muslims who see the same problems as you and I see when it comes to immigration. When it comes to immigration from their own countries, I am a person from a Muslim country, Iran, who would not like Iranian migration right now. Right now, I would halt migrations on Iranians, because we are not getting the best of the creme de la creme of Iranians coming in. We're getting the fucking idiots who are mindless barbarians who have no idea how to behave in a society. I mean, I hear a lot of good things about Iranians when I talk to other people. They're like, oh, I have an Iranian friend in my corporation. He's a great guy. Yes, yes, that Iranian was a good one. But I can show you another 10 who are fucking assholes, who are morons, who have no respect for women, who behave like animals. You just haven't seen that group. That's all it is. You haven't come across that group because Iranians are a minority of a minority. But I can show you the assholes too. And there are plenty of them in every group, in every demographic. So, no, not all of any group is great, and not all of any group is terrible. There will be a mixture of good and bad in all. My issue with the Muslim world and the Muslim community in Britain is, if you hear this at any point in your life, please recognize that if you consider yourself the majority that are good, that are wholesome, that are trying to get on with your life, you are not isolated. You're not a man on an island. You are part of a Muslim community. If you say you are Muslim to the question, are you a Muslim? If you answer yes, then you are part of that wider community. And when you hear about rapists and groomers, it is on you too. It sits on your shoulder. Don't shrug it and go, well, I'm not one of those guys, so fuck it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect me. No, it does. It affects you too. You are part of that demographic. The responsibility of you going out and showing the world and the country you live in that these people don't represent you is on you too. You should be marching in the streets. You should be outraged. You should be as pissed off about a grooming gang of Muslims as you are about someone swearing against your prophet and your Allah. How is it that someone like Salman Rushdie can write a book and you lose your shit and you're marching down London streets and burning flags when someone writes the satanic verses, and yet you hear about people who are grooming white and non-Muslim children, and I don't hear a fucking peep from you people. You do recognize that people see this hypocrisy, right? People are not blind to the hypocrisy of how you behave towards someone writing a book versus or a cartoon or versus you guys knowing that you have groomers in your society, in your communities, and you don't do a fucking thing about it. I want every Muslim to lose their shit about grooming gangs as they do about the satanic verses and about Charlie Hebdo. That's what I want to see. And we don't see that. We see the hypocrisy in your community. This is not gone unseen. This has not gone unnoticed. And those who see it, those who witness it, are going to distrust you in the future. Okay? They are not going to be your friends, and groups like Identity Europa and the Golden Dawn and every other right-winging crazy nut job is going to gain support the next time round elections come, because they don't see from Muslims. The Muslims are not outraged about the right things. You're outraged about the wrong things. You're outraged about Charlie Hebdo, and you're not outraged about child groomers. You've got it the wrong way round. Switch your priorities. Who gives a shit what someone says about Prophet Muhammad or Allah? But people do care about letting your community rape their children. Believe me, that really does matter to them. So just get your priorities right. The Muslim community, the Muslim society in Britain does not have its priorities right. It's clear, it's evidential to anyone outside of that society. People can see this. March against groomers, march against terrorists, lose your shit, burn a couple of flags when somebody tries to stab police officers in London or run people down over bridges. How is it no flags are ever burnt when that happens, but yet the British and the American flag is literally doused with petrol, ready to be burnt on a 24-hour basis every time America sets a foot wrong or some Charlie Hebdo draws a cartoon of Muhammad? You guys are ready to fucking tear the city down for a cartoon, and yet you don't say a fucking word when people are being murdered by those who claim they come from your faith in the streets of London. There is a hypocrisy here. There is an inconsistency here that the world has noticed. Trust me, we have noticed this. We have seen it. We know what you're about, and we don't trust you anymore. The word taqiyya has become a very common word amongst non-Muslims because we know what you do, we know what you're saying, and we don't trust you anymore. And we don't believe it when you say not all of us support this anymore. That's what's happening. And that is a dangerous thing, by the way, for the Muslims in the Western world, that we no longer believe it when you say we don't, we are not all terrorists. People are starting to not believe that anymore, Manny. This is dangerous. This is dangerous for you and me too, because we may not be one of them, but we will be lumbered with them when the shit hits the fan. We will be on those train cars.
I'm not going to be lumbered with these idiots, but I'm just going to say there's a chap in the chat called Al Jannah Aj. Unfortunately, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help everybody else that you may be friends with. This is how it works. You've posted in the chat and I screen grabbed it, saying that all school bombs and hospitals should be bombed. Okay, I know somebody's timed you out, but let me tell you how it works. Google, by law, is a company, by the way, that owns YouTube. They know exactly what IP address each message and handle comes from. So even if you move to Mars and send something on the chat, as long as the court orders the police to ask Google to find out who sent that, you are in trouble. Do you understand? So don't. I'm going to assume that you've done that because you're thick as two short planks. Okay, but let me help you and every other idiot on this chat and any other chat. There is actually no way for you to paste anything or type anything in any Google live chat and get away with it. The difference is, here's the difference. If you type something that pisses me off, I don't need the police to press charges. I don't need the government to go through the Crown Prosecution Service to press charges and see if there's a case. I can do that from my own money. Do you see the difference? Poor people need the police to press charges. The rest of us, we can press charges and go straight to court and ask the court to find out who you are. So do yourself a favor. Do the people in your family and your community a favor. Stop being such a prick. Okay. Now you're lucky. Some of the other things that you typed after that are kind of a bit more, how can we say, level-headed. So we're gonna assume what you typed is just complete bullshit and you're just talking out your ass and leave it up there for the time being. But you and every other troll need to understand that most people wait for the police to decide there is a case, and if worst case scenario, if a crime prosecution service decide they want to put some money towards it, I wouldn't want to be doing that if you pissed me off. I won't need the police to press charges. I know what the law is. I would do it around the corner. All right? Calm down. Try to think with an open mind. Try to think like a human being and stop saying things like you want to bomb hospitals, schools, and whatever the other shit that you said. Fucking grow up. So I don't know what my mods are doing. If someone like that types that crap, you need to chuck them out. This isn't like some of the other channels. I don't encourage this type of crap. Chuck them out. These things upset people. Your mods, because I've seen something within you. I've seen humanity in the things that you type, and as a consequence, I've given you the power to chuck these vile individuals out. And like Mia Banksy is saying, not all Muslims are like this. There are plenty and in majority good Muslims. And if we allow these idiots to bring down those type of Muslims, what precedent are we setting? Are we really going to be helping the good Muslims? We won't be. Come on. Sorry, Banksy, I just had to point that out.
No, you're right. You're right. But the thing is, Manny, as I said, this is the problem in the community as a whole. You know how we. It's amazing how the mainstream media tears into people like Tommy Robinson and EDL and them. Like if they find one Nazi, neo-Nazi type of person within them, and yet there are hundreds, if not thousands, of Islamist, fascist, just straight up ISIS types within the Muslim community, and and yet we have to constantly go, well, not all, yeah, we know not all, but there's plenty of them in here. We're not labeling the whole of the Muslim, we're not allowed to label the whole of the Muslim community as ISIS, because not all Muslims are ISIS, and yet you find one neo-Nazi in the EDL, and that's a fucking right-wing neo-Nazi fascist white supremacist group. This is the hypocrisy that the people are beginning to wake up to. They're beginning to see this. This is not, it hasn't gone unnoticed that you find one neo-Nazi in one movement and the whole movement is a right-wing, ultra right-wing neo-Nazi fascist groups that must be eradicated from the face of the planet. But you find thousands of ISIS supporters within another group, and we have to constantly excuse it. We have to constantly apologize for it. Well, it's not all. Well, it's, come on. Well, I mean, we got to, well, it's this, well, it's that. Well, no, people are beginning to notice. They're not idiots. The people of this country are not idiots. They can see you're apologizing for the ISIS supporters. You're apologizing for this particular religious group and this community, but you're not apologizing for the Tommy Robinson bunch. You don't give a shit about them. So of course you're going to garner hate for this group, and you're going to grow support for the other one. Because once the truth comes out, you see, I'm not saying that you shouldn't say that they're not all Muslims are ISIS supporters. Absolutely, you should. But what I am saying is that when you look at the disparity, when you look at the hypocrisy and the double standards of the way the two different types of groups are treated by the mainstream media, then what the counter effect to that is one group gets more support, so the Tommy Robinson types get even more, garner more support, because the world starts, or the population starts to recognize that the mainstream media is gunning for them, has it in for them. And the other group, the good Muslims, are going to people are going to harbor distrust towards them, because they're going to start to recognize that, okay, the mainstream media isn't going to tell me the truth about this group, so I'm going to have to paint everyone with the same brush in this group until I myself can pass between the good ones and the bad ones, because I can't trust the media to tell me which are the good ones and the bad ones, and I can't trust Muslims to tell me which are the good ones and the bad ones, because they're lying to me too. So
So,
how do I
so do you
ascertain the good ones from the bad
so
ones?
do you think that's a strategy of the establishment in their attempt to create hatred between different groups by being deceitful and not projecting the truth, and as a consequence, creating a divide and rule situation?
I saying them that's what the media is trying to do?
I'm asking you, do you think that's their
Oh,
strategy to create a whole
I
new
don't.
divide and rule situation?
I don't really think the mainstream media has that insidious, or I mean, some people like to think that the mainstream media and the deep state and all this stuff, all this Alex Jones stuff, that there is this overarching plan to all of this. I honestly don't think they are that well organized. We can see from the shambles that is Brexit. I just don't think that the governments and the media are that well organized. I think what it is that they're too so scared of innocent Muslims being attacked in the streets that they've gone way too far in totally supporting anything Muslims do, and just trying to shield and protect them as much as possible, because they would rather to overprotect the Muslims and their community than to allow than to not do it and then be accused of racism, because an innocent Muslim person gets attacked in the streets. So they've gone overboard on that side, and they've gone overboard on attacking legitimate reasons and legitimate causes that people like Tommy Robinson are going for,
So
because they
how do we get the good Muslim community involved in the good causes? How do we do that?
I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know. I think you can you there are those is the trick is, do you know a guy called Imam Tawhidi? He's an Australian imam called Imam of Peace on Twitter.
No, I
Okay,
don't.
okay.
Sorry.
You should look him up. You should look up what he says on Australian TV. You should look up what he says. He's actually had an interview, a very long, over an hour long interview with Tommy Robinson, and he is actually reaching out. I think he's an Iranian Shiite imam, but he is an imam. He's a devout Muslim, and he is calling out the hypocrisy of the Sunni Arab Islam. He is calling them out for their hypocrisy and their false belief in Bukhari. He actually literally says these people do not believe in the Quran and Allah. They believe in Bukhari because they follow Bukhari's hadith so much. So he is throwing a lot of truth bombs out at the Muslim world, and he is the one attacking the Muslim. Now he's been called all sorts of government shill. He's been attacked all over the place about his views, but he is throwing a lot of truth bombs out into the Muslim world, and he is calling for a big reform within Islam. He's literally saying Islam should be reformed. But unfortunately, I think if he's Shiite, which I think he is, I suspect he is going to be labeled as a crazy Shiite Muslim by the Sunnis, and he hates the Sunnis, and he's going to generate all that crap. He's getting a lot of flack, and he's not being promoted by the mainstream media half as much anymore. He was a few times, but he's now, since he's had interviews with a lot of relatively controversial YouTubers. He's also had, by the way, an interview with a lady called the Roaming Millennial. She's now using her real name, which I forgot, but her YouTube name was Roaming Millennial, and she's had an interview with him as well. Just type Imam of Peace interview with Roaming Millennial. Get that interview. That's a great interview. Check these people out. There are reformists within Islam. who are actually coming out, not only within Muslims who live outside of Muslim countries, but within Muslim countries. But nobody's giving them the time of day. So, yes, if you're a YouTuber, if you have any kind of platform, seek these people out, interview them, put them out there, put their voices out into the world. I don't despise
And that
Muslims.
now you understand why I asked Sia Live to host a show, because her previous two videos were a lot more balanced, and she was trying to disclose the grooming gangs in Holland, and also she came out and said that she didn't want to attack Raj and his mum on a personal level, as she has been incited to do so. So I thought,
There you go.
that needed a bit of credibility, and that she needed a bit of respect, because she was under a lot of pressure to do precisely the opposite. And now I mean, those were the reasons. So I am doing my best, but my both of our YouTube channels are very humble, and we're just trying to spread the good message. But I just want to say, Romy Tobinson on the chat said, the good Muslims know we want them on the streets with us. Time and time again, we've asked, but they won't, out of fear. And
Exactly. Because
and
they
I
because
think
they know they're gonna get tarred and feathered by the mainstream media and potentially their own community as being some kind of Uncle Toms to the white man. Because this is a stupid narrative that if you support a particular cause, which is a good cause, but if you support it with the wrong people, then the cause is wrong somehow. No, the cause is wrong. Bad people can still support good causes, believe it or not. They may not be great as a complete person, or their entire opinion might be, some of it might be wrong. But this thing that they're supporting, if you believe is a good cause, then you should still stand with them. It's okay. Have a bit of fucking backbone and stand for the cause, not for the person that's standing next to you. Sorry, go on, Manny.
no, that's fair enough. I think, unless you want to say something, I
Cool.
may end the stream. I think it's been quite a powerful stream, to be honest. There's a lot of we've discussed a lot of topics and different areas. So
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say one thing about Sia Live. I did try to interview her within the first, I would say, the first stream I heard her talk. I knew there was something special about this individual. That's why I moved to try and interview her. Unfortunately, that day she messed me about the whole day. She wasted my whole Saturday, and I became a little bit agitated because of that. And I never contacted her again because I just felt that maybe she's just purposefully wasting my time. So I didn't go back, but I do recognize what you recognize in her. She has something special about her. The other thing is about anyone out there who sees a good Muslim like Imam Tawhidi, like See Alive, like anyone who is truly a progressive, decent human being who's trying to have a realistic debate about the future and the future reforms of Islam. Give them a platform, give them thumbs up, give them your subscription, give them the most tiniest non evasive support that you can. I'm not asking you to go out there and give them money or go out on their marches or anything huge. All I'm saying is like their videos occasionally, give them your subscription support. Click on the subscription button. It doesn't matter. It's not going to cost you anything, but make sure that their voice is spread as far and wide as you can possibly help it, and tell your friends and tell your Facebook friends, and just let these people's voices be heard. Good Muslims' voices need to be heard, because this battle against the Wahhabis, against the Salafis, against the ISIS types is not going to be won by foreigners. The only way foreigners win these type of wars is with guns and with tanks and with bombs, and we don't want that. We really don't want that. The best way to solve this problem that we have with Islam in our societies and globally is from Muslims from within to stand up and to be as mad about Wahhabism and to be mad about Salafis and the ISIS types as they are about someone defaming Muhammad or Allah. You really have to be that angry. You have to come out with that kind of passion. And you Muslims, you're not right now. You're not stepping up, and we need you to step up. Sorry, Manny, go ahead.
mate, that no, that was fantastic. That's exactly what many many people think, including the good Muslims. That's exactly what we need to do. You know, they need to stand, and you know, I'm sure Banksy will agree, but I'm sure Raj will agree that if you are a British ethnic person and you feel uneasy about coming to these marches and movements, I would be happy for you guys to hang with me and see how it's all done. You know, I can appreciate that it may not be, you know, that it can be unsettling. So, you know, feel free to come with me and come with Banksy or Raj, whoever. And but like I said, it won't be 1 in 3, it won't be 1 in 20, it may not even be 1 in 50 or 1 in 100 person that's from an ethnic background. But everybody in that march will be British, and they will want to stand up for their country. And you just get involved, you jump in with both of your feet. And like I said, I'm not just representing British Indian, British Punjabis when I go there. I'm representing British white, British, any type of British person. I'm there for all, and I feel that it has to be there, because if we don't stand there, then the racist small groups within the main group may think that this is a racial thing, and I ain't going to let that happen. So even though it's harder to attend these things, it's my responsibility to make sure that we are all represented. And that's kind of my last bit. Did you want to say a final word, Banksy? I'm going to finish up with a couple of videos, so if you want to say the final few words.
No, I think you did a great job, Manny. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you everyone for listening, and like, subscribe, of course. And yeah, thanks a lot. Catch you guys next time.
Brilliant. Thank you, Banksy, for joining. And if you haven't already subscribed to Banksy Style YouTube channel, you need to get your backsides over there and sort that out, because Banksy is a great YouTuber, great quality. He's a growing channel, so you want to get there early as possible, and not when he's a big star and he doesn't want to come onto a menial channel such as this one. So get over there and get involved. And
I'll always do
thank
your
you
show,
everybody for
Manny.
joining.
I'll never be too big for you, Manny.
I'm just going to play a couple of small videos then, guys, and then away we go.
Your attention, please. That includes all visitors. My lords, ladies, and gentlemen, welcome to the Manny Sinder channel. Every Wednesday, I will present to you the masters of action. Every Friday, I will present to you the wide radio show. If you are easily offended and you do not like our things, I will represent it yours.
Because my head is not on my arms. Head is not my arms. This is an Islamic jihad attack. The man that done this would have either been radicalised in a prison, or he would have been radicalised on the streets of the UK with full knowledge of our government and our security services. They will know who he is. Yeah, mate, I have information that shows there was 4 terrorist attacks last week in France. 4 in France. There was 12 planned last year. Driving your car like this man has done is exactly what the Inspire magazine, which is Al Qaeda's magazine, which was downloaded by 50,000 British Muslims last year. 50,000 British Muslims downloaded a terrorist manual in our country. 50,000, not 10, not 20, 50,000 people who want to see exactly what you see there. That's what they want. They want war, they want death, they want destruction, and we keep on pandering like you just come up to me saying it's got nothing to do with Islam. It's got everything to do with Islam. It's got everything to do with Islam. Okay, look, I'm on the reality. This is the reality. The reality is this is a war. These people are waging war on us for time. This has gone on for 1,400 years. This is nothing new. And the whole time while this goes on, religious leaders or political leaders want to invite more. They want to invite more. I'm here in Rome, day after election, and sent shockwaves through Europe. It's a war. These people are waging war on us for European bureaucrats in Brussels will be looking to row with fear as the Italian people are voting overwhelmingly to reject the left-wing establishment. For the patriotic people of Europe, the people who voted for Brexit, the people who marched against migrant rights in Germany, the people who are tired of the no-go zones and the wave of rapes and murders sweeping Europe. They're looking to Italy right now with hope. Till now, Italy's been led by a centre-left coalition, pro-Europe, pro-migrant. They've been responsible for 750,000 migrants landing on Italy's shores. A racist motherfucker, you're standing out course defending paedophiles. For what? You're in court. You are not alone. You are not fringe. You are not extreme. All across Europe, people are waking up to the fact that the far left have held the European people in a stranglehold for too long. Italy is just the latest in a growing list of countries rejecting left-wing fascism. People are recognising that for Europe to live, the European Union must die. Europe to live, the European Union must die.